Chapter 1081. Junior Valley Master, Mississippi. The Kong Valley's people surrounded Kong Sengyi and her brother, Kong Xiangqi. Little sister, I will hold these people back in a while. You take your men and rush out. Don't look back, okay? Kong Sengyi was already injured. Blood was dripping down from his fingers. Kong Sengyi covered Kong Xiangqi's wound. Even though he had taken medicine, the bleeding did not stop. He knew that the wound was poisonous. Big brother, what nonsense are you talking about? If we're going to leave, we're going to leave together. I won't leave you behind and run away. She roared angrily. Little sister. Kong Xiangqi grabbed Kong Sengyi's hand and said, we can't all die here. Our parents will be sad. Do you want them to lose 2 children at once? Then I'll stay. You can go. Kong Sengyi said. In your current state, you won't be able to hold them off for long. They'll catch up to me soon. Why don't I buy some time for you? Why are you so disobedient? Kong Xiangqi roared angrily. However, because he was injured, his voice did not sound threatening. I've always been disobedient. It's not like you just found out. Kong Sengyi looked at Kong Xiangqi. Kong Xiangqi looked at her stubborn little face and felt helpless. He could feel his body's condition. His life force was rapidly depleting. Even if he escaped, he wouldn't be able to survive. But in the face of his most beloved little sister, this little sister who had been stubborn and disobedient since childhood, how was he going to tell her? None of you can escape today, so you don't have to drag me down here. The black-clothed man said in a low voice. Kong Sengyi supported Kong Xiangqi and looked at the men in black, his eyes filled with murderous intent. You must be the people who have been massacring various forces in the Wonderland recently. Kong Sengyi's contract beast, a beautiful woman, stepped forward and stood in front of Kong Sengyi. Master, I'll deal with them. You guys go first. Shueya. Kong Sengyi looked at the resolute back view, his eyes filled with reluctance. However, she had to make a choice. If all of them stayed here, they would all be annihilated. Master, Shueya is very happy to be your contracted beast. I hope that Master will find a better contract beast in the future. She can replace me to protect Master. Shueya turned her head and smiled at Kong Sengyi. Fifth Elder, take Big Brother and leave. Kong Sengyi placed Kong Xiangqi in the hands of a middle-aged man and said, you must bring Big Brother out. Miss. The Fifth Elder couldn't bear it. It's better if I, Fifth Elder. Kong Sengyi exclaimed. Only if you take Big Brother with you can he make it out alive. Don't forget Big Brother's status. Let's go. The Fifth Elder was very reluctant, but Kong Sengyi was right. Kong Xiangqi was the Junior Valley Master of the Kong Valley. If he died, the impact on the Kong Valley would be even greater. He gritted his teeth and brought Kong Xiangqi to attack the weakest part of the encirclement. Don't let a single one of them go. The black-robed man waved his hand, and those black-robed men attacked the remaining Kong Valley people. The Kong Valley people were already weaker than the other party. Adding on the fact that many of them were injured, more and more of them fell. Kong Sengyi waved his whip, and every whip would send a group of people flying. However, even so, he couldn't win against the other party in terms of numbers. What kind of power did they belong to? Why did they want to exterminate the Kong Valley? Master, be careful. Shue'er's scream came from behind Kong Sengyi. Before she could turn around, she heard the sound of swords piercing into bodies. Shue'er. Kong Sengyi killed all the people in front of him, and turned around just in time to catch Shue'er's falling body. Master, Shue'er can't continue to protect you. Shue'er leaned on Kong Sengyi's arm. Blood kept flowing out from her chest and stained Kong Sengyi's skirt. Shue'er, don't say anything. Hurry and eat this pill. Kong Sengyi took out a pill and fed it to Shue'er. He wanted her to eat it as tears kept falling. Master, you must be well. You must remember what Shue'er said just now. Remember Shue'er turned into a little blue martin in Kong Sengyi's arms. Just as she was about to die, Kong Sengyi felt a metallic taste in his throat and spat out a large mouthful of blood. She was being counterattacked by the power of the contract. One of the black-robed men behind her tried to sneak an attack on her. However, before he could get close to her, he sensed danger coming from the side. In a flash, he gave up on attacking and dodged. Kung. A long spear flew from the sky and pierced through where that person was just now. It finally stabbed into the ground behind Kong Sengyi. Kong Sengyi hugged Shui's corpse and looked in the direction where the long spear came from. He saw the person he had been waiting for a long time. Shimin Feng saw the blood on Kong Sengyi's body and the corner of his mouth. Thinking of the scene just now, he felt heartache and anger. He came to her side and carried her up, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm done." Kong Sengyi looked at Shimin Feng with tears in his eyes. Before he could speak, he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Xiangyi, are you okay?" Shimin Feng panicked when he saw her like that. "Sister Xiangyi, what happened to you?" Little Seven ran over and saw Kong Sengyi covered in blood. She was furious. "I'll take revenge for you." With that, she raised her fist and attacked those black-robed men. Sima Yue let Hua and the people from Heartbreak Valley take action. She came to Shimin Feng's side and looked at Shui's corpse on the ground, saying, "Her contract beast must have died. She must have suffered the backlash of the contract power. Luckily, it wasn't her life contract beast. Her life isn't in danger. Those people deserve to die. Heartbreak Valley disciples, listen to my orders. Leave none of them alive." Shimin Feng's voice was low and hoarse. It showed how angry he was now, but he had to control his emotions. "Save my big brother." Kong Sengyi looked at Sima Yue pleadingly. "Don't worry, your big brother is fine now." Sima Yue looked at Kong Sengyi and saw Hua using flowers to pull him up. "He's poisoned," Kong Sengyi said. Sima Yue was stunned, then said, "Let me take a look at his condition first." Hua, who received the order, brought Kong Sengyi over. The flowers were placed on the ground and acted as a bed. Sima Yue took out a pill and fed it to Kong Sengyi. Then, she bent over to check on Kong Sengyi's condition. There were more than 10 wounds on his body, but the scariest thing was the blood that kept oozing out. "Big brother has been bleeding ever since he got injured. I can't stop it," Kong Sengyi said. "He's really poisoned." Sima Yue checked and said, "But luckily, I have the antidote for this poison." "You have the antidote?" "When Shi Qianji was with me, I took many poisons and antidotes from him," Sima Yue said. "You're saying that this poison is Shi Qianji's?" Kong Sengyi squinted his eyes, his body emitting an endless chill. Chapter 1082. Sima Yue took out the antidote and fed it to Kong Xiangqi. Seeing that his bleeding had stopped, she stood up and said to Kong Sengyi, "This poison is Shi Qianji's, but these people are not his." "How did you know?" Kong Sengyi asked. "This isn't his unique poison, it's just something he researched," Sima Yue said. "The mythical dragon sect doesn't dare to act so ostentatiously against the other sects now." "You're not from their sect. How can you be so sure?" "Because..." Sima Yue thought of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword and did not continue. "Anyway, I know it's not them." Since the Sky Splitter was currently in the Divine Dragon sect, they did not dare to cause too much trouble, because the demonic nature of the demon sword had not recovered yet. If others were to notice them now, more people would discover the existence of the Sky Splitter. They wouldn't take the risk. Kong Sengyi still believed Sima Yue's words. Since she said that it was not Shi Qianji, it should not be him. "I'm touched to hear that you trust me so much." The spatial tunnel opened, and Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang came out of the spatial tunnel. They looked at her with gratitude. "Come on." Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. "Qiushuang, you seem to have grown taller." Shi Qiushuang's cold eyes softened when she saw Sima Yue. There was even a hint of a smile in her eyes. After the poison was detoxified, the body began to grow. Shi Qiushuang said, "I never thought that I would grow up one day. I've had enough of this childish look." "Take your time," Sima Yue said. "Most people at your age don't grow their bodies, but your situation is special. Your body retains its memories, so it will slowly grow back." Shi Qiushuang knew that he would return, so she wasn't too worried. "Did you really make this poison?" Kong Sengyi asked Shi Qianji when he saw him. "That's right, I developed it," Shi Qianji admitted. "Are these your men?" "No," Shi Qianji denied. "We came here precisely for this matter." "What is it?" We discovered that someone was using the poison I developed to attack the people in the immortal land. That's why I'm investigating this matter. Shiqianji explained. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Did you offend a lot of people in the past? Why is it that whenever someone wants to frame someone else, they always think of you first? Can you guess who it is? It was like that in Ocean of Cloud City, and it was the same here. Those fellows definitely had deep enmity with Shiqianji, and that was why they'd framed him like this. Otherwise, why didn't he look for someone else? Shiqianji shrugged. He was not worried and said, I have many enemies. If you let me think, I can think of a lot. But there shouldn't be many people who can understand your poison so well and obtain it, right? Sima Yue guessed. Cough cough, it seems like there are quite a few. Shiqianji said. So you still can't guess who it is? Kong Sengyi asked. It's not that I don't have a clue, but I'm not sure so I can't tell you. Shiqianji said. Even if I told you, you wouldn't know. After you find out, let's inform the Kong Valley. Kong Sengyi leaned into Shimin Feng's embrace and closed her eyes tiredly. The Valley Lord has already taken care of them. Baixing came over and said, I'll leave the corpses to you. We'll set up camp at a place 10 miles away. Sima Yue said. Huahua carried Kong Xiangqi and left. The rest of the disciples followed them and left. Only a few people stayed behind to deal with the corpses of the Kong Valley's disciples. After setting up camp, Shimin Feng brought Kong Sengyi into his tent and placed her on the bed. Feng Shui'er is gone. Kong Sengyi then relaxed and allowed her tears to fall. She revealed her weak side to Shimin Feng. Shimin Feng wiped her tears and said, Don't worry, we'll definitely find out who's behind this and take revenge for Shui'er. He knew about the relationship between Shui'er and Kong Sengyi. Now that she was dead, he felt sad too. But he was glad that it was just an ordinary contracted beast and not her life contract. If not, he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Kong Sengyi's tears couldn't stop falling. His heart ached for her. He didn't know what to do. Instinctively, he leaned over and kissed the corner of her eyes, wiping away her tears. Kong Sengyi was stunned. She even forgot to breathe. This was the first time he kissed her. Be good, don't cry. Shimin Feng's face under the mask was also red, but he couldn't think of any other way to stop her tears. Hee, Io. Little Seven's voice came from outside the tent. Her voice was getting further and further away, making the two people in the tent blush even more. Outside the tent, Sima Yue twisted Little Seven's ear and brought her out of Shimin Feng's tent. Io, it hurts. Little Seven patted Sima Yue's hand and cried out in pain. Sima Yue twisted Little Seven's ear with one hand and grabbed Little Roar's neck with the other. Only after they were far away from the tent did she let go of Little Seven and brought Little Roar in front of her. You two actually learned how to eavesdrop. Little Roar, didn't I say before that Little Seven's personality is pure? Don't lead her astray. You actually dared to bring her to do such things. Little Roar shrunk his neck and said without confidence, Why did you say that I was the one who led her and not the other way around? Do you think I don't know your personality? Who else would do such things other than you? Sima Yue poked his forehead. Aya, we actually didn't want to go and eavesdrop. Little Roar crossed his short legs and looked very innocent. We just thought that Xiang Yi's contracted beast had died, and that she had suffered from the backlash of the contract and suffered such serious injuries. That's why we wanted to go and see her and comfort her to make her happier. Who knew that we would encounter such a scene? Right, Little Seven? Yes. Little Seven kept nodding her head as if it was real. Sima Yue casually threw Little Roar aside and said, Don't think that I don't know what you two are thinking. The next time you bring Little Seven to do such things, I'll settle all the old and new debts with you. Little Roar flipped 2 rounds in the air and stopped. He smiled and said, No, there won't be a next time. Who? You use words meant that she was letting them off this time. She knew that she wouldn't believe them. But luckily Little Seven was with them this time, so she didn't punish him. If it was according to the past, an idea popped up in his mind. In the future, no matter what he did, he must bring Little Seven along. I hope not. Sima Yue glared at her. Seeing that Shi Qiushuang and Shi Qianji were looking at her, she guessed that they had something to say to her. After exhorting them, she walked towards them. Chapter 1083. Did you find anything? Sima Yue asked. Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang both shook their heads. Those people were very clean, nothing was left behind. Looks like he's prepared to die. Could it be a death warrior from some force? Sima Yue asked. There should be more than one. Shi Qianji said. Although those people did not leave anything behind, we still discovered some minute differences. They did not belong to the same power. Then it's very likely that a few powers from the inner regions have joined forces to do this in the immortal land. Sima Yue said. Where's your poison? Are there any clues in this regard? Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang looked at each other and hesitated for a moment before saying, there are indeed two suspicious people, but it can't be them. Why? One is already dead, and the other is my master. Shi Qianji said. The dead can't speak and can't frame me. As for my master, it's even more impossible. Sima Yue frowned and said, based on what you said, it's impossible, but it did happen. I think you'll have to see if there are any other suspects. That's the only way. Shi Qianji said. Sigh, because of this matter, we don't even have the time to look for opportunities. Sima Yue did not sympathize with him. Who asked you to do so many bad things in the past? This is called retribution, do you understand? Look at your gloating face. You really want to see the world in chaos. Shi Qianji rolled his eyes at her. I didn't say that. Sima Yue refused to admit it even though that was exactly what she thought. Although you didn't say it, your face showed it. Look at that smile of yours. Shi Qianji exposed her. I don't know how I can be friends with someone like you. I was thinking about that too. If you didn't pester me, would we have become friends? Sima Yue said. I'll pester you? How could this be? I'm so handsome, outstanding and elegant. How could I pester you and want to be friends with you? Shi Qianji started his narcissistic mode. Qiushuang, do you believe his words? You don't believe me, right? Sima Yue ignored him and asked Shi Qiushuang. Shi Qiushuang smiled and did not answer her question. It could be said that she agreed with her. You guys have always been in the inner region. Did you notice any unusual forces? Sima Yue asked. Other than carrying out missions, we usually don't pay much attention to other people's matters. Shi Qianji said. If you want to ask, the other people in the sect might know better. Well, it was obvious that these two people were going to be hands-off managers and would not pay much attention to other people's affairs. Why are you asking this? Shi Qiushuang asked. A lot of things have happened recently, and they are all related to the inner circle. This makes people wonder what kind of power is behind this. Sima Yue said. You've all seen what happened in Cloud Sea City. Besides that, the Divine Devil Valley was also plotted against and almost incited the enmity of other forces. Now that something like this has happened, once we get out, send someone to investigate. Shi Qiushuang said. Don't cause so much commotion. It's impossible that there are no clues at all. You guys are in the inner circle. It's best that you guys investigate this. Sima Yue said. Right that? What? How is eldest senior brother? Sima Yue asked. He's all right. After he slapped the Jiang clan in public in Cloud Sea City, the Jiang clan sent someone to look for him and wanted him to return to the clan. But he didn't accept their suggestion. He even said that he would kill anyone from the Jiang clan that he sees. Shi Qiushuang said. Although he was angry, the Jiang clan can't do anything to him. After all, the Jiang clan doesn't dare to touch us. Then, what about the Sky Splitter? Sima Yue asked. Is your father still holding it? Speaking of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword, Shi Qiushuang's face fell. Her face was filled with helplessness. Father is getting more and more obsessed with it. He won't let go of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword every day. He even yells about killing people. Then his mind is still clear? Should be. Shi Qiushuang said. But the last time I went to look for him, his eyes were bloodshot and filled with killing intent. It was as if he didn't have any other thoughts besides killing. I think that if this goes on, he might be controlled by the devil sword. Do you blame eldest senior brother? Sima Yue asked. If Jiang Junxian didn't bring the devil sword back, then this wouldn't have happened. Shi Qiushuang shook her head. Searching for the Sky Splitter Devil Sword has always been the mission of the mystical dragon sect. If you really want to blame someone, then you can only blame my father for not having a strong will, and not being able to resist the temptation of the devil sword. I told you guys before, if it's possible, it's best to throw the devil sword out. Sima Yue said. Or let it be sealed forever. Otherwise, it might bring about an even greater disaster in the future. Speaking of this, she really wanted to hang Jiang Junxian up and beat him up. If he didn't insist on bringing the Sky Splitter Devil Sword out, why would he worry about what would happen in the future? But thinking about it, he did it because he didn't want to bring little Seven back. He didn't want her and Han Miaoshuang to be sad. He chose to hurt others so that he wouldn't hurt her. She didn't know if she should be happy or angry. He also came in this time, Shi Qiushuang said. But he didn't come with us. He left alone. Why? Sima Yue was a little worried. Walking alone here, wasn't that the same as looking for death? I don't know. He said he wanted to be alone. He's so stubborn. He won't listen to us, Shi Qianji said. I think that after he proved that the Jiang clan was blind, after Kong Junchul and his parents died, he became a little lost. Shi Qiushuang said. Revenge has always been his obsession. Now that he doesn't have it, he'll be a little lost. Shi Qianji said. Sima Yue understood that not everyone would understand what they really wanted. Revenge would be the motivation that kept them going. Once they took revenge, they would lose themselves. They wouldn't know what they wanted to do, and wouldn't know what to do in the future. But what surprised her was that Jiang Junxian would also encounter such a situation. Thinking about how lazy he usually was, she felt a little heartache for him. This senior brother. Because Kong Valley's people were injured, they had no choice but to rest here for 2 days. Luckily, Old Ape said that those people were still here and didn't go far. A few days later, Kong Sengyi's injuries were almost healed. Kong Xiangqi's injuries were also healed. Old Ape said that those people were moving, and they were moving very quickly. Sima Yue and the others decided to set off again to see if they were from Zhongzheng clan or Huaiyang Palace. Chapter 1084. He did not know what had happened to those people. They had been on the move for the past 2 days. It seemed like they were in a hurry. Not only those people, but others were also rushing in that direction. It seems like some kind of treasure has appeared over there. The person who went to scout for information came back. Really? Then let's grab a treasure on the way and get an opportunity. Sima Yue smiled evilly. All right. The people of Heartbreak Valley were all excited. They had been hurrying along and had not encountered a really good opportunity. Now that he heard that there was a treasure up ahead, it would be strange if he wasn't excited. Originally, they only wanted to avenge the Valley Lord and Vice Valley Lord. But now, everyone's enthusiasm was aroused. They chased after those people and flew all the way. 2 days later, they stopped moving. It seemed that they had arrived at their destination. Sima Yue and the rest flew for another 2 days before reaching their destination. It was actually at the edge of a sea. More and more people have been coming recently. They heard some people say when they arrived. Sima Yue and the rest did not know what it was, but from their expressions, it should be a good treasure. They are from Yinyang Palace. Shimen Feng whispered to Sima Yue when he saw them. Sima Yue followed his gaze and saw people wearing the Yinyang Palace's uniform from afar. Looks like it's them. Sima Yue said. They don't seem to be in good condition. There aren't many of them either. It seems like they aren't that lucky. However, the opponents they encountered were not strong. Otherwise, they would not have left so many people behind. Shimen Feng was not very satisfied with this result. Sima Yue looked at the sea and said, "Don't worry, they didn't do it before. This time, they won't be able to escape." With so many spirit beasts in the sea, it was enough to make them suffer. We need to find out what they're here for, Han Miaoshuang said. But look at these people. Do they know what they're here for? Su Xiao asked. If there are outsiders, of course they won't talk about it. Sima Yue said. But when there's no one around, they will definitely talk about it. It's time for the bees to make their appearance. Sima Yue released many scarlet bees and asked them to scout for information. Very quickly, the purpose of everyone gathering here was clear. Seeing her eyes light up, the people around her knew that something good must have happened. You quickly tell me, what is the good news? Little Seven urged. The bees said that everyone is gathered here because there is a small island in the middle of the sea. There seems to be some historical remains on that island. Perhaps a great emperor came here before. Sima Yue said. Really? Everyone cheered. If it was true, then there must be a lot of treasures on that island. There might even be some inheritance. As long as it was related to the great emperor, it would definitely be extraordinary. No wonder there are so many people gathered here, but not many spirit beasts. Shimin Feng said. If there were spirit beasts, the people of the Yinyang Palace wouldn't be able to get to the island so easily. Since the inheritance is on that island, why is everyone waiting on the shore? Su Xiaoxiao asked. Because they haven't found a way to get there yet. Sima Yue said. Can't we get there? You can't fly here, even if you're from the bird clan. Sima Yue said. Then we'll go by the sea. Anayani said. Do you think those people don't know? Sima Yue shook her head and said. The sea water seems to be lighter than usual. It can't withstand the weight of a normal ship. And they didn't know that there was a sea here, so there aren't many people who prepared ships. Then we can't get there too? Little Seven asked. Since we can't get there, then why are they still guarding here? I heard that the sea water seems to be changing. Every 5 days, there will be another sea water coming over. When the sea water comes over, the ships will be able to move normally. Sima Yue said. It seems like there were people who went over 2 days ago. Those who don't have ships are rushing to refine them. At this time, armament masters were extremely important. We didn't bring any armament masters this time. Bai Sheng said. Even if they wanted to refine a ship, they couldn't do it. Don't we have a ship too? Little Seven said. With that, we don't have to wait for the sea water to change, right? Sima Yue's eyes lit up. That's right, how could she forget about that? But her excited face immediately fell and said, only Fatty knows how to drive that battleship. He's not here now, so we don't know how to drive it. Having it was equivalent to not having it. Who knew that Little Seven patted her chest and lifted her chin and said, I know how to drive it. You know how to drive it? That's right. When Brother Fatty was familiarizing himself with the battleship, I was watching from the side. Because I thought it was fun, I let him teach me. Little Seven said. That time she learned it for fun. She didn't expect that one day she would really use it. Little Seven, you're too smart. Sima Yue pinched Little Seven's face excitedly. If you know how to drive it, then it shouldn't be a problem for us to go over. Even if we can't do it now, we can wait until the sea water changes. What battleship? Shirchun and the others asked. They had never heard of them having a battleship. Even Wu Lingyu didn't know about it. It was that time, when we were still in school, there was a time when we went out for a mission. Sima Yue told them about the time when they were sold to mine in the desert. Damn, so you guys were the ones who did it. Anayani couldn't help but swear. This news was too shocking. You said that the mine used to build the force was moved from there, right? Fengji said with certainty. They were still wondering why she had a mine. Now that they thought about it, when the mine disappeared, wasn't it dug by them? And that Almighty who didn't exist seemed to have taken the blame for them. Since we have a battleship, then we should go over earlier. Since there are already people there, if we're late, then all the good things will be taken away by them. Little Seven said. But if we leave now, what about the people from Yinyang Palace? Han Miaoshuang asked. They don't need us to do anything. The spirit beasts in the sea will naturally take care of them. Sima Yue said. But we have to think of a way to get them to go to the sea. We don't know them well on the surface. How can we get them to go to the sea? Sima Yue thought for a while, looked at Kong Sengyi and Kong Xiangqi saying, we'll have to trouble you guys. Us? Kong Sengyi was surprised, but he didn't ask anything. What do you need us to do? This book came from Chapter 1085. Sima Yue whispered a few words into Kong Sengyi's ears. Kong Sengyi nodded and left with the people from Kong Valley. To see the latest chapter, please go to Yu. What did you ask them to do? Little Seven asked curiously. Curious baby, you'll know in a while. Sima Yue pinched Little Seven's cheeks and said. Little Seven patted Sima Yue's hand and pouted. Fine, I won't tell you. She wasn't a curious baby. Sima Yue smiled and looked at the sea. Ruins. On the other side, Kong Sengyi and Kong Xiangqi led the Kong Valley people to the shore. The Yinyang Palace people were not far away. Big brother, why are there so many people here? Kong Sengyi asked. Kong Xiangqi furrowed his brows and said. I don't know. Why don't we ask around? Kong Xiangqi said. They must have found some treasure. Otherwise, why would there be so many people? Kong Sengyi said. Go and ask them. Why would they tell us? That's true. Kong Xiangqi sighed. If there really was a treasure, everyone would have to hide it. Why would they tell them? Isn't that an elder of the Yinyang Palace? Big brother, let's go and take a look. Kong Sengyi acted as if he had just seen the people from the Yinyang Palace. The people from the Yinyang Palace noticed them while they were talking, but they didn't pay any attention to them. Now that they had come looking for him, he couldn't just ignore them because of their previous friendship. Elder Wu, you are here too? Kong Xiangqi walked over and greeted Elder Wu. So it's Xiang Yi and Xiangqi. Why are you here too? Elder Wu said with a fake smile. I saw that there were quite a lot of people when you came in. Why are there only these few now? At the mention of this, Kong Sengyi could not hide the sadness and anger on his face. He said, previously we were chased by someone. If we didn't run fast enough, I'm afraid we would have been wiped out. When he was escaping, he saw that everyone was rushing here, so he followed to see what was going on. Elder Wu, you came earlier than us. Do you know what happened here? What she said was true, and her feelings were also true. Elder Wu naturally believed her. Well, actually, it's nothing much. There are some treasures ahead, but they are isolated by the sea. Elder Wu said, avoiding the important points. There's a treasure? Kong Sengyi's eyes flashed with joy. Since it's isolated by the sea, we can just fly over. As she spoke, she felt a little restless. If only it were that simple, then we wouldn't be stuck here. Another elder of the Yinyang Palace said in a strange tone. What's wrong? Can't we fly? Kong Sengyi asked. I can't. You can't fly in this space. Even flying beasts can't fly over. The only way is through the ocean. Elder Wu said. Then let's go. As long as there's a boat, it's fine, right? A boat won't do. Elder Wu looked at the few small boats on the beach and said, the seawater here is lighter. Normal boats can't drag it at all. A boat like this will sink. Ah. Then doesn't that mean we can't go over? Kong Sengyi cried out, looking at the sea with a face full of regret. Yes. Everyone is thinking of a way here to see if we can go over. It's just that our Yinyang Palace hasn't thought of a way yet. Xiang Yi, your Kong Valley has many weapon refiners. Can you refine a special boat? This was the real reason why Elder Wu was paying attention to them. Kong Sengyi sighed and said, our weapon refiners all died in the previous chase. There are only 2 left, but their ranks aren't very high. If we want to refine a boat, I'm afraid it'll take at least 10 days to half a month. So long. Elder Wu frowned. It was such a waste to tell them all this information. If they had to wait that long, they might as well wait for the seawater to change 3 days later. Kong Sengyi naturally knew what he was thinking in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. He only said regretfully, yes, but luckily there are still 2 weapon refiners. It's just that I don't know if they can refine a special boat. Elder Wu, you've told us such important information. If we can go over, we'll definitely bring you along. The elder just now snorted coldly. He flung his sleeves and went to the other side. Elder Wu smiled. If that's the case, then I'll have to trouble you, little nephew. You look, there's a boat. Suddenly someone shouted. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and saw a huge ship appear on the surface of the sea. Whose boat is that? It can actually float on the sea. Such a big boat. How many people can it hold? I'm more curious about whose boat it is. Can we take a ride? Look at the people on the boat. Aren't they from Heartbreak Valley? That's right. The one wearing the mask is the Valley Lord of Heartbreak Valley. After Shimin Feng got on the boat, the other disciples of Heartbreak Valley also followed. A group of people stood on the deck and looked at the people below. They were very impressive. It's really Heartbreak Valley. How can Heartbreak Valley have such a boat? I'm afraid they must have spent a lot of money to build it. Don't think that Heartbreak Valley is a new force. Their strength is simply far beyond us. Say, if we ask them to take a ride, will they agree? Look at those people and you'll know if they will or not. The people of Bloodfiend City were all ferocious. They released a murderous aura from their bodies, causing those who had ulterior motives to retreat. On this side, the people of Yinyang Palace and Kong Valley also saw it. Kong Sengyi saw Sima Yue slowly getting on the boat and shouted, "Aya, isn't that Yue? Little sister, do you know her?" Kong Xiangqi asked. "I know her. I'm quite familiar with her." Kong Sengyi said, "We've been through some things together. We can be considered friends. Then if you ask her to take us along, will she agree?" Kong Xiangqi asked in surprise. "She will definitely agree," Kong Sengyi said excitedly. "Yue is very nice and warm. With my friendship with her, it's not a problem for us to bring everyone in the valley. Big brother, I'll go and stop them first. Otherwise their boat will leave. Yue, Yue." After speaking, she ran towards Sima Yue's boat. Kong Xiangqi also wanted to run over, but Elder Wu grabbed his arm. "Xiangqi, you said before that if you can build a boat, you can bring us over. Now that you're like this, can you talk to Heartbreak Valley and bring us over?" "Bring you?" Kong Xiangqi was hesitant. "I don't know Sima Yue. Look, only little sister knows them. Now that little sister is going over, I don't know if she can bring you along. Why don't you come with us and see if it's okay?" Chapter 1086. Sima Yue heard the cheers as soon as she got on the boat. "Yue, Yue." She turned around and saw Kong Sengyi running towards her. "Xiangyi, why are you here?" Sima Yue pretended to be surprised and smiled at Kong Sengyi. They had been at the back of the crowd just now, so no one had seen them together. Therefore, when they saw the two sides meet, it did not arouse any suspicion. "I just got here too," Kong Sengyi said. "Yue, are you going to the other side of the sea?" "Yes." Sima Yue did not hide the truth. "Then can you bring us there too?" Sima Yue hesitated for a moment and nodded. "You saved my life last time. It's my duty to bring you guys there." Kong Sengyi smiled and said, "Thank you." "Xiangyi." Elder Wu and Kong Xiangqi came over and looked at her. Their intentions were self-evident. Kong Sengyi was also a smart person. He immediately understood what he meant. "Well," she looked at Sima Yue awkwardly. "Yue, can you bring the people from Yinyang Palace over as well?" Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. "Are you close?" "I promised Elder Wu just now that if I go over, I'll bring them along. Is that okay?" "No way." Shimin Feng walked over and refused directly. "Valley Lord." Sima Yue looked at Shimin Feng with an expression of respect. "Yue, we already have a lot of people. We brought Sky Ghost Valley because they saved your life. Huayang Palace has nothing to do with us," Shimin Feng said. "But I promised Xiangyi that I would agree to her request." "Anything." Sima Yue was in a difficult position. She did not want to break her promise. "Yue. Valley Lord, you won't let me become a person who eats his words, right?" Hearing Sima Yue's words, Shimin Feng was speechless. That's right, Yue promised me." Kong Sengyi winked at Elder Wu. Elder Wu immediately understood. He cupped his hands and said, "I am an elder of Yinyang Palace. If you can bring us along, we will definitely be grateful." "Then will you share the things you obtained with us?" Seven asked. "Oh." Elder Wu didn't expect them to ask such a question in front of everyone. Wasn't this taking advantage of the situation? But seeing Shimin Feng's "I don't care if you want to sit or not" appearance, she could only restrain the anger in her heart, and said with a smile, "If you take us there, we will give you 20% of the treasures we get." 40%. Shimin Feng said. The corners of Elder Wu's mouth twitched, and he said, 30%, that's the most. Shimin Feng was silent for a moment, then said, "You can only stay on the deck." With that he turned and left the deck. Sima Yue saw that he didn't object, so she waved at Kong Sengyi and said, "Xiangyi, come up." "Elder Wu, let's go." Kong Sengyi excitedly went up. The people from Kong Valley and Yinyang Palace also went up one after another, making the people at the side envious. If only they had a good relationship with Sima Yue, then they would be able to get a seat. In their eyes, Sima Yue was very stupid. How could she bring others along at this time? For someone to do such a thing, other than stupid, what else could be used to describe them? At the same time, they also understood one thing. Sima Yue's position in Heartbreak Valley was very high. Even the Valley Lord had to give her some face. After the people from Kong Valley and Yinyang Palace went up, Sima Yue ordered the ship to set off. 7 leisurely sat in the control room and started the ship. The ship slowly left the coast and set off towards the small island. It slowly became smaller in everyone's eyes and finally disappeared. The people on the shore were envious. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and build the ship." The seawater changes every 5 days. Now more than 2 days have passed. They are only 2 days ahead of us. They probably won't get any treasures. Some people comforted themselves. That's right. The people who go first may not get the treasures. Someone agreed. This treasure is not something that can be obtained by whoever goes first. It depends on fate. I think you guys are saying sour grapes because you can't eat them. Wait until they find all the treasures in the historical remains. Let's see if you can still say that. So what if they get it? No one can say for sure who the treasures will belong to in the end. Alright, the person who said this must have made up his mind to rob them. Do you dare to rob Heartbreak Valley? Someone at the side secretly mocked. Don't forget their identity. Aren't you afraid that the entire bird clan will take revenge on you? There are so many people in Bloodfiend City. Can you beat them? Don't rob them today and get your clan exterminated tomorrow. Violet Water Dragon Clan is the overlord of the 9th Star Ocean. Do you dare to touch their little prince? The person who said that just now had dense sweat on his forehead. He was obviously scared by these people. I was just saying. How would I dare to rob them? However, the Immortal Land is so big and there are so many people coming in. They won't all be afraid of them, right? At least the Ghost Clan and Demon Clan wouldn't be afraid. Who knows? Don't forget who her masters are. One is Su Jin, one is Old Man Devil, one is Feng Zhixing. These people have a certain influence in the inner region. Old Man Devil and Su Jin haven't been seen for many years. Who knows where they went? As for that Feng Zhixing, they are from the inner region. As the saying goes, distant water can't put out a nearby fire. Hee, if you're not afraid, then you go ahead. I don't have the guts. I'm talking about others. AI, thinking so much. It's better to build the ship earlier. AI, that's true. What are you spacing out for? Hurry up and build the ship. Yes, young sect leader. The people from Wyong Palace and Kong Valley were on the deck. The disciples from Heartbreak Valley were also standing on the deck. Most of them had their arms crossed and stared at them. Xiangyi, you guys find a place to sit. I'll go down and take a look. Sima Yue smiled at Kong Sengyi. Are you going to the control room? Can you bring me along? Kong Sengyi asked excitedly. It was her first time seeing a ship. She had seen ships flying in the sky before and was very curious at that time. Sima Yue hesitated and said, Okay, but you can't casually touch the things inside. If you break it, we'll have to stay on the sea. Don't worry. Kong Sengyi patted his chest and promised. Then come with me. The others saw that Kong Sengyi followed Sima Yue down and were very envious. They were also very curious and wanted to go down and take a look. Unfortunately, they didn't have that kind of relationship and couldn't let Yue bring them down. When Sima Yue and Kong Sengyi went down, Little Seven was sitting on the chair. Her 2 feet were on the steering wheel, and she was leisurely nibbling on her radish. Chapter 1087. Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Chapter 1087. Little Dream Regains Her Memories. Chapter 1087. Little Dream regains her memories. Kong Sengyi didn't have to act like he didn't know anyone when he came down. Seeing Little Seven's carefree look, he laughed. Look at our Little Seven's carefree look. Yu, I just realized that I've finished all the pills you made for me. I can only chew on carrots now. Little Seven sat up and passed the ingredients in her hands to Sima Yue. Sima Yue took the ingredients and condensed a flame. Using the flame as a cauldron, she refined the ingredients into pills. TSK, your pill refining skills are indeed worthy of the first place in the alchemy competition, Kong Sengyi exclaimed. Sima Yue kept the pills properly and passed them to Little Seven, saying, You guys stay here and watch. I'll go in and check on Little Dream. Little Dream hasn't woken up yet? Little Seven asked. Not yet. Little Spirit said that Little Dream is a little unstable. I'll go in and check on her. After speaking, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. Kong Sengyi went to Little Seven's side and looked at the buttons curiously. Little Seven, since you're free now, why don't you teach me how to turn this on? She smiled at Little Seven. Sure. Little Roar agreed on Little Seven's behalf before Little Seven agreed. Little Seven knew that Little Roar always had some weird ideas. Since he agreed so quickly, he must have some ideas. Hence she nodded, saying sure. Really? Haha, thank you, Little Seven. The excited Kong Sengyi didn't know that he had fallen into their trap. In the spirit pagoda, Sima Yue went in and saw a group of beasts guarding Little Dream. How's Little Dream? She's been like this the whole time. She hasn't woken up yet. Thousand Resonance said. Sima Yue went to the bedside. Little Dream was huddled together, her body trembling uncontrollably. Her tears were like a broken string of pearls that couldn't stop flowing. Her pale face scrunched up. Her face was filled with fear and terror. Her hatred had already eroded to the bone. No matter which one of us approached her, her reaction was very strong. They'll kick and punch us, Yaguang said with heartache. As Sima Yue's beasties, they had never encountered such a situation before. Their hearts ached for her, but there was nothing they could do. Sima Yue walked over and hugged Xiaomeng. Xiaomeng wanted to hit her, but she hugged her tightly. Little Dream, it's me. Don't be afraid, I'm here with you. Sima Yue patted Xiaomeng's back and comforted her. Perhaps because of the contract, Xiaomeng was much better in her arms. She did not punch or kick her. Instead, she subconsciously hugged her, and even let out a low whimper. Sima Yue could feel the pain in her heart, and her eyes reddened. She felt as if she had returned to the time when she had just regained her memories. At that time, she had also felt this terrible. Little Dream, don't be afraid. Those are all memories of the past. You are very safe now. I will always be with you. She patted Xiaomeng's back and comforted her. You weren't Xiaomeng's memories sealed? How did it become like this all of a sudden? Yaguang asked. Xiaomeng's seal was not very strong. After so many years, the thing in her body has been wearing down the seal. It was because of this that I was able to see her memories when I made a contract with her. Sima Yue said with heartache. Coupled with the stimulation from the Devil Clan, the thing in her body exerted its strength and broke the seal in an instant. Xiaomeng is so pitiful. Ling Long did not cry, but she felt sad for her. Yu, do you know what the thing in her body is? Thousand Resonance asked. Everything that Xiaomeng had suffered was caused by the thing in her body. If not for it, there would not have been any of these things. Sima Yu shook her head. In Little Dream's memories, no one has ever said what that thing is. However, everyone knows that if you obtain that thing, it will increase your cultivation. If you can put it in your heart, it will make you immortal. You want Xiaomeng to be like this? Yeah. Xiaomeng had already calmed down in Sima Yue's arms, but her frowning eyebrows and pale face showed that she had not fully recovered. Sima Yue hugged Xiaomeng. If not for her immortal body, she would not have to suffer so much. Sometimes living was not as good as one thought. Many times, living was more painful than dying. When Xiaomeng wakes up, I wonder how she will face her memories. Thousand Resonance said. When Sima Yue recalled the past, she looked like she was on the verge of breaking down. Just thinking about it made them scared. Xiaoming's experience was so similar to hers. Because of her, her family was exterminated. They could not imagine what would happen to the innocent Xiaoming when she found out about the past. Sigh, hiss. Don't be afraid. Little golden snake woke up unknowingly. It circled around Sima Yue's shoulder and spoke to Xiaoming in a broken language. Little golden snake, you're awake? Sima Yue saw little golden snake and said happily. Awake. Xiaoming. Little golden snake spoke very slowly, like a baby who was learning how to speak. Xiaoming's body is fine, Sima Yue said. But her body broke through the seal. It's not good now. Protect her. Little golden snake said slowly. Are you saying that you want to protect Xiaoming? Sima Yue asked. Little golden snake nodded. You, Xiaoming, protect. Little golden snake is so obedient. Sima Yue patted little golden snake's head and said happily. It knew that it wanted to protect them. She did not feed it so many good things in vain. Little golden snake, are you not going to protect us? Little Rock looked at little golden snake and wanted to tease it. You. It protected Yue, and Yue protected them. Was that what it meant? Let me die. Let me die. Xiaoming suddenly screamed. Her body kept struggling in Sima Yue's arms, and she suddenly used her hand to grab her chest. Xiaoming, wake up. Sima Yue grabbed Xiaoming's hand, not letting her hurt herself. Let me die with them. Sima Yue's words did not have any effect on Xiaoming. She was still screaming and struggling. Xiaoming. Sima Yue used all her strength to restrain her, not letting her hurt herself. However, she was hurt by her strength. Xiaoming, you hurt Yu. Guang and the rest shouted. This shout was very effective. Xiaoming quietened down immediately. Ugh. Sima Yue's mouth dripped with blood, and it happened to drip onto Xiaoming's forehead. Maybe it was because she smelled the blood. Xiaoming's tightly shut eyes finally opened slowly. Seeing the blood on Sima Yue's mouth, Xiaoming thought of the memories she saw in her dream, and tears fell from her eyes. Yu, I'm sorry. Chapter 1088. Xiaoming's apology made everyone's tears flow down. Sima Yue smiled at her and said, I'm fine. Yu. Xiaoming couldn't say anything. She could only hug Sima Yue and cry. At first it was a soft sob, but later on, it became a loud wail. She cried until she almost fainted. Sima Yue understood how she felt. Back then, she had almost broken down, let alone someone as innocent as her. She understood that it was useless to say anything now. Only when Little Dream endured it herself would she truly get better. All she could do was to quietly accompany her, and let her know that no matter what happened, they would always be with her. Sima Yue cried along with Xiaoming. Her tears fell on Xiaoming's face and mixed with her tears. I understand, Xiaoming. I understand your feelings, your pain, and your hatred. If you want to cry, then cry. If you want revenge, then we will accompany you. Even if we turn the demon world upside down, we will accompany you. Yu, Little Dream cried. Why me? Why did that thing grow on her body? Why did it bring her so much harm? Little Dream let out a long howl, and suddenly reached out to dig at her chest. All 5 of her fingers sank into her body. Xiaoming, what are you doing? Sima Yue did not expect her to do that, and was a little slow in stopping her. Xiaoming pulled her hand out of her body, and a lot of blood spurted out from her chest. Little Dream lowered her head and looked at the blood that kept flowing out. After being hit in the heart, other than bleeding and becoming weak, it did not take away her life. Yu, look, he won't die. He wouldn't die. Ah. Little Dream looked at the blood on her hand. She couldn't bear the pressure and cried out hysterically. When Sima Yue saw Xiaoming like this, she somewhat understood how they felt when they saw her break down. She hugged Little Dream tightly and pressed her head against her forehead, saying, Little Dream, this isn't your fault. Your clansmen don't blame you either. Until they die, they are still thinking about how to protect you. No matter how many things they went through outside, they didn't want you to know. That's why you became such a cute you. Did you forget what your mother said before she left? She said to let you live well. Little Dream remembered the last words her mother said to her. Live well, escape, live well. But she didn't manage to escape. She was captured and tortured for so many years. In the end, she was sealed and suppressed. How sad would her mother be if she knew? She closed her eyes and her tears flowed uncontrollably. When she opened her eyes again, that pair of innocent, cute, and sometimes mischievous eyes had changed. Now, her tears were only filled with pain and hatred. Little Meng, no matter what you want to do, we will accompany you. Little Peng said emotionally from the side. Yes, yes. We you their heart's eyes. You and you in her pains. You and you. Little Dream thanked them, but she felt as if something was stuck in her chest and she couldn't say anything. Xiao, Jin, Xiao, Meng. Little golden snake slithered down and circled around Little Dream's neck, rubbing its head against Little Dream. It was telling Little Dream that Little Golden Snake was with Little Dream. Little Roar, who was playing happily outside, suddenly cried, scaring Little Seven and Kong Sengyi. Little Roar, what's wrong? I was just joking with you. Kong Sengyi said helplessly. Little Dream. Woo Little Dream. You, I want to go in. Little Roar cried. Sima Yue heard Little Roar's request and kept him inside. Little Roar saw Little Dream's current state and cried. He threw himself onto Little Dream's body, not caring that the blood had dyed his beloved white fur black. Woo Little Dream, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have played outside. I should have been with you. Woo. When Little Roar came in, everyone was stunned by his crying. The way he cried was even more exaggerated than Little Dream. Little Dream let go of Sima Yue's hand and stroked Little Roar. She saw that the fur under his eyes was wet from his tears. His eyes were filled with regret as the tears in his eyes flowed even harder. Little Dream, don't cry. I'll accompany you to beat the bad guys. Little Roar climbed up and came to Little Dream's neck, sobbing as he spoke. Sima Yue was stunned by Little Roar's actions. Did something happen that she did not know about? After a while, Little Dream finally recovered and said, Thank you all. Thank you all for accompanying me. What are you thanking me for? We're a family. Sima Yue said. You should recuperate here first. Once you're better, we'll go find those Devil Clan people to collect interest. Since Luo Li and the rest came in, there will definitely be other Devil Clan people who came in. The powers that went to capture you last time were huge. This time, there will definitely be many who came in. Yes. Little Dream nodded. Sima Yue grabbed onto Little Dream's hand, which was still covered in black blood. Don't do something like this next time. You live to kill the enemy, not to hurt yourself. Do you understand? I understand. Little Dream saw the black and red blood on Sima Yue's body and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Yu. I hurt you. It's good that you're fine. Sima Yue used her other hand to pat Little Dream's head as she spoke. I'll be fine. I'll go and find them to take revenge. Little Dream said. It's good that you can think like that. Sima Yue said. They're calling me from outside. I'm going out. Recuperate well, and try to recover as soon as possible. After the seal was broken, my strength seems to have increased by quite a bit. Once I've adapted to the current situation, I'll go out. Little Dream said. All right, we'll wait for you. Sima Yue kissed her on the forehead, then went to change her clothes and went out. The moment she went out, Little Seven and Kong Sengyi could smell the faint scent of blood on her body. Chapter 1089. Yue, what happened? Kong Sengyi asked worriedly. Just now Little Roar's appearance really gave them a fright. They had never seen him like this before. Yu, did something happen to Little Dream? Why do you have the smell of blood on you? Little Seven asked. Nothing. Sima Yue did not want others to know about Little Dream's current state, so she changed the topic and asked, Why did you call for me? Oh, it's like this. Just now, Old Bai came down and said that someone wanted to enter the room, but was rejected. Little Seven said. So be it. Sima Yue didn't think much of it. The people of the Yinyang Palace didn't have long to live anyway. Now that they had left the coast, even if they killed them, no one would be able to see it. As for whether or not they would guess in the future, that was none of her business. Without conclusive evidence, even Yinyang Palace would not dare to do anything to Heartbreak Valley. You've implicated us. That's true, Sima Yue said. But if we take action and their bodies are found, they will definitely suspect us. Then what should we do? Seven asked. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, let's think of a way to lock them up and throw them out when we reach the island. Then use poison to poison them. Little Seven said, since you have so many poisons, you can easily get rid of them. They're all cultivators. It's not that easy to poison them, Kong Sengyi said. Then think of a way, Sima Yue said. I have an idea, but I don't know if it will work. Little Seven said faintly, what is it? The solution is. Little Seven said with a sinister smile. In the evening, Kong Sengyi and Sima Yue finally returned to the deck. When Kong Xiangqi saw Kong Sengyi, he asked, why did you guys go down for so long? I saw that Little Seven was having a lot of fun, so I asked her to teach me for a while. Who knew that I would come up so late? Kong Sengyi replied with a smile. She taught you? Yes, I did. Kong Sengyi nodded. I already told you that I have a good relationship with them. Even if your relationship is good, you can't go and cause trouble for others. What if she gets angry and throws us off halfway? As he spoke, Kong Xiangqi looked at the people from Heartbreak Valley, as if they would be thrown down if they were angered. Big brother, don't worry. Yue won't do that. Right, Yue? Kong Sengyi asked. Sima Yue smiled at Kong Xiangqi. Xiangyi is my friend. I won't throw them down. See, I told you it wouldn't happen, Kong Sengyi said. Even so, you can't be impudent, Kong Xiangqi warned. I know. Kong Sengyi curled his lips at Kong Xiangqi. This fella was practically warning a child. Oh right, Yue, you said last time that you would cook for me when we meet again. Does that still count? When have I ever not counted? Sima Yue retorted. Then can you cook for me now, little sister? Kong Xiangqi glared at Kong Sengyi. Junior Valley Master, don't be angry. This is what I promised Xiangyi. Sima Yue said. Since we know each other, let's drink some wine and eat some meat to celebrate. Elder Wu, why don't you all join us? Elder Wu and the others had been listening from the side the entire time. When they saw that Sima Yue was so cordial towards the Kong Valley's men, and had even prepared food for them, they said with a smile, since Vice Valley Master is so cordial, this Wu will respectfully accept. Yue, I want to eat barbecue, Kong Sengyi said. No problem. Why don't we barbecue on the deck? Anyway, the view here is wide and the night sky is not bad, Kong Sengyi suggested. Sima Yue thought about it and nodded. That's fine too. I'll go and prepare some things. She entered the cabin, and came out after a while. With a wave of her hand, a huge table appeared on the deck. With another wave of her hand, a pile of prepared ingredients was placed neatly on the table. There were also a few pots and pans. Han Miaoshuang came out of her room the moment she smelled the ingredients. Seeing Sima Yue preparing to cook on the deck, she said, Haha, junior brother, you're going to cook? Why didn't you call me? Sima Yue glanced at her and said, do you still need me to call you? Your nose is even more sensitive than a spirit beast's. Cough cough, you don't have to say that, right? Han Miaoshuang refused to admit it. Am I wrong? Sima Yue started cooking. Barbecuing meat, stir-frying vegetables, stewing soup, cooking, she did not make any mistakes. If one's mental strength was not super strong, one would not be able to handle so many things at the same time so leisurely. Kong Sengyi took out a table and prepared to eat later. She and Han Miaoshuang sat at the table and watched Sima Yue cook for them. Very quickly, the first batch of barbecued meat was ready. Sima Yue used her spirit energy to wrap it up, and placed it on the plate on the table. Big brother, Elder Wu, come and eat. Yu's food is delicious. Kong Sengyi waved at them. Kong Xiangqi, Elder Wu and two other elders sat down. They originally wanted to get closer to her, so they could eat together. Now that they smelled the aroma of the barbecued meat, They really had an appetite. Then we won't stand on ceremony, Elder Wu said as he took a skewer of barbecued meat and took a bite impatiently. Kong Xiangqi also took out a skewer and ate it. The taste almost made him swallow his own tongue. He finally understood that Kong Sengyi did not let Sima Yue cook for them just to trick them. This thing was really delicious. How is it? Kong Sengyi looked at him as if she was waiting for a compliment. It was as if she was the one who made it. This is the best barbecued meat I've ever eaten, Elder Wu exclaimed at the side. He finished one skewer in a few bites. Before he put down the metal skewer in his left hand, he picked up another skewer with his right hand and continued eating. The people in Yinyang Palace had never seen their elders eat without caring about their image. They thought that the barbecued meat tasted really good. Just by smelling the aroma, they could not help but salivate. Sima Yue served a freshly cooked dish. Elder Wu immediately recognized it. Isn't this Memory Restaurant's braised lion's head? This is their exclusive dish. Vice Valley Lord, how did you know how to make it? I taught the chefs to make it. Of course I know how to make it myself, Sima Yue said. You're saying that Memory Restaurant is also Heartbreak Valley's property? Sima Yue smiled but did not say anything. Then you must have Memory Restaurant's exclusive fruit wine? Elder Wu's eyes lit up as he asked. Chapter 1090. That's right, Yue. How can there be no wine when there's meat? Kong Sengyi said. The fruit wine you gave me last time, I finished it in a few days. Fruit wine? Elder Wu, do you want some? Sima Yue asked. When Elder Wu heard what Kong Sengyi said, he was even more certain that Sima Yue must have a lot of fruit wine. I've been to Memory Restaurant a few times and have a deep impression of the delicious food and wine there. It's a pity that the things there can't be taken out, so I haven't had a chance to drink the fruit wine, Elder Wu said. More than that, Kong Sengyi continued. Yue, it's not that I want to criticize you, but Memory Restaurant is really too stingy. Every time you go to eat, you actually limit the alcohol. Everyone can only order so much wine. Once we finish it, there won't be any left. I can't drink to my heart's content every time I go. Didn't you say that last time? Didn't I give you a few jars to satisfy your craving? Sima Yue said. Speaking of which, I've developed a few more flavors of fruit wine. Really? Then quickly take it out and let us taste it. Kong Sengyi shouted. So those fruit wines were all brewed by you, Vice Valley Lord, Elder Wu said. I wonder if we will be lucky enough to drink the newly brewed fruit wine tonight. Every once in a while, Memory Restaurant would release a new fruit wine. As a result, there were more and more types of fruit wine. Even if you didn't like this one, there would always be one that you would like. When the other restaurants saw that Memory Restaurant's fruit wine was selling so well, they all went to study how the fruit wine was brewed. Unfortunately, there were so many hotels, but none of them tasted as good as Memory Restaurant. Therefore, even though Memory Restaurant's fruit wine was very expensive, and they could only drink a little each time they went, there were still many people who flocked to it. That's good. You guys can give me a taste. With a thought, Sima Yue produced a few jars of fruit wine in front of everyone. As soon as the jars were opened, the aroma instantly aroused everyone's appetite. This smell is even better than before, Kong Sengyi praised from the bottom of his heart. Isn't it? Quickly give it to me. Han Miaoshuang couldn't wait to pour a bowl for herself. Pour some for me, pour some for me. Kong Xiangyi waited for her to pour some before she took the wine jar and poured herself a bowl. I'll try it too. The others also poured a bowl one after another. How is it? Sima Yue looked at them, waiting for their evaluation after drinking. It's super delicious. It tastes even better than before, Kong Xiangyi said without exaggeration. When Sima Yue heard this, she smiled with satisfaction and said, as long as it tastes good. That's for sure. The fruit I used this time contains a lot more spiritual energy. The fruit wine will naturally not be bad. Sima Yue said with a smile. Ihi Yu, how much fruit wine did you brew? Kong Sengyi hugged the wine jar and looked at her. Not much. Sima Yue knew what she was thinking when she saw her expression. I haven't sent the fruit wine to all the shops. I can't give it to you. You still have so long to go out. Kong Sengyi said. You can give it to them after you go out. All right. Seeing Sima Yue hesitating, she continued to plead. How about this? I'll buy it like last time. How about that? You really want to buy it? Sima Yue asked. Yes, more real than pearls. Kong Sengyi said with certainty. As long as you're willing to sell it to me, money is not a problem. All right. Since you're so forthright, I can sell these jars of wine to you. Sima Yue said. However, the price is a little higher than before. It's all right. Kong Sengyi immediately took out a crystal card. You can swipe as much as you want. Just give me the fruit wine. All right. Sima Yue took the crystal card and casually swiped a number of spirit stones. Then, she returned the crystal card to her and gave her a few jars of fruit wine. Thank you, Yue. Kong Sengyi smiled as she kept the fruit wine. When the others saw the two of them closing the deal, they were shocked at their speed. At the same time, they felt that Kong Sengyi was very lucky to know the owner of Memory Restaurant. Vice Valley Lord, since you've already sold the fruit wine to Xiangyi, can't you sell some to us? Elder Wu said half-jokingly. Hehe, Elder Wu, you're too kind. Sima Yue suppressed the disgust in her heart and forced herself to continue smiling at him. We limited the amount of wine in Memory Restaurant because there were too many customers. If we didn't limit it, no matter how much wine we brewed, it wouldn't be enough. But this doesn't mean that we won't open the back door for our friends. So it's all right. Of course, Sima Yue said. But there are only a few jars of this newly brewed wine. Xiangyi has already bought all of them. If Elder Wu wants some, we can only buy the ones that were brewed before. Although he was slightly disappointed when he heard that the one he was drinking now was gone, he thought that the other wines were still delicious. He nodded and said, if it's from before, then so be it. Even if it's from before, it's still priceless. Yue, Elder Wu has always taken care of me and my brother. If you sell the fruit wine to him, you have to give him a discount. Otherwise, your price is too high. Kong Sengyi said. Elder Wu looked at Kong Sengyi with satisfaction, and decided to treat Kong Sengyi better in the future. At least if he could help in the future, he would help him out. Then we'll go according to the restaurant's price and give you a 20% discount. How's that? Sima Yue asked. Then I'll have to thank Vice Valley Lord. Elder Wu was overjoyed. Other than the Members' Day, Memory Restaurant never gave discounts. However, it was hard to get a seat during the Members' Day. Even if there was a discount, it would only be a 10% discount. No one had ever given a 20% discount before. Then what kind of fruit wine does Elder Wu want? Sima Yue asked. What kind do you have? I have all kinds. Sima Yue said. As long as it's from Memory Restaurant, I have it here. Then you have a lot? Memory Restaurant had close to 100 types of fruit wine. If she had all of them, then wouldn't she have at least 100 jars? It's not that much. Sima Yue said. Some fruit wines only have a few jars. Some have more, tens to hundreds of jars. That will depend on what flavor Elder Wu wants. When everyone heard this, they all wanted to buy the wine. They couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Then give me a few jars. Elder Wu said excitedly. He had plenty of money, but if he missed out on this fruit wine, then so be it. One hand handed over the money, and the other hand handed over the goods. Very quickly, the transaction was completed, and Sima Yue received another large sum of money. Since Elder Wu bought so much, how about this? I'll give you some for free. At the same time, I'll satisfy everyone's cravings. Sima Yue said. Chapter 1091. After Sima Yue said that, the entire deck became quiet and then burst into laughter. Ow! Vice Valley Lord, is what you said true? Anayani shouted. You guys don't stand a chance, Sima Yue glanced at him. These wines are for Yinyang Palace and Kong Valley. If you also pay for a few dozen jars of fruit wine, I'll give it to you. Vice Valley Lord, you can't be like this. Anayani wailed. What about me? Sima Yue said. I'm telling the truth. There are people who bought the fruit wine. If you want to drink it, you have to buy it. But aren't you also our Vice Valley Lord? Anayani whispered. You can't drink if you don't buy it. Sima Yue waved her hand and dozens of jars of wine appeared on the deck. Come on. You're really giving it to us? The Kong Valley's people asked in disbelief. The disciples of the Kong Valley excitedly hugged the jugs of wine and started to divide them up. When the disciples of the Yinyang Palace saw that they were all drinking, they also went to get their own jugs. When Sima Yue saw that everyone was drinking, she lowered her head and continued to roast the meat for everyone. A meaningful smile appeared on her face. Vice Valley Lord. Why haven't I seen your Valley Lord come out? Elder Wu was eating delicacies and drinking fine wine. He was overjoyed when he recalled that Sima Yue was the only one outside. The Valley Lord, he doesn't like to interact with people and doesn't go out much. He was like this in the valley too, Sima Yue replied casually. Recalling what Shimin Feng had told her before, she shook her head helplessly. I won't be going out for a few days. When I see them, I only want to kill them. I'm afraid that I'll reveal my killing intent and arouse their suspicion. He probably wouldn't want to come out as long as the Yinyang Palace's people were here. I didn't expect you to become the Vice Valley Lord at such a young age. You're truly a young hero. Elder Wu said sincerely. I was just lucky. If it wasn't for those things, I wouldn't have made it this far. Sima Yue said. Vice Valley Lord, you are so humble. Elder Wu smiled and said. These things are delicious. Han Miaoshuang praised as she ate. To be able to eat such delicious food and drink such delicious wine, this life is so good. Kong Xiangyi sighed as well. Why do I feel a little dizzy? A disciple from the Kong Valley cried out. I'm also a little dizzy. Another disciple frowned and said, Haha, you guys can get drunk on this fruit wine. However, before he could finish his words, he also felt a little dizzy. Did I drink too much? Dong. Before he could finish his sentence, he fell to the ground. Following that, people fell one after another, regardless of whether they were from the Yinyang Palace or the Kong Valley. Elder Wu also felt a little dizzy. When he saw Sima Yue stop what she was doing, he immediately became alert. What did you do to us? He stared at Sima Yue and stood up from his seat. His strength caused the chair to fall to the ground. Sima Yue held the barbecued meat skewer in her hand and looked at him calmly. Kong Xiangqi saw that all the disciples in the valley had fallen and panicked. However, when he saw Kong Sengyi calmly sitting in his seat, he didn't get up. Little sister, this is... Kong Sengyi ate a mouthful of barbecued meat before standing up. He took out a jade bottle and walked in front of the Kong Valley disciples. He let them sniff it lightly and they regained their strength. What's going on? You guys are in cahoots. Elder Wu finally reacted. He looked at Kong Sengyi and then at Sima Yue. I finally reacted. Kong Sengyi returned to his seat and said while eating. You guys did it on purpose. Elder Wu finally understood what was going on. You guys had planned this beforehand to lure us onto this ship. That's right. Elder Wu, you reacted quickly. Kong Sengyi raised his wine glass and toasted him. Why? Elder Wu looked at Kong Sengyi. He didn't understand why she did this. There shouldn't be any hatred between them. He looked at Sima Yue. He couldn't recall any hatred between Yinyang Palace and Heartbreak Valley. Why? He couldn't figure it out. He couldn't think of an answer. Why? Sima Yue walked over and stepped on Elder Wu. Do you know me? Elder Wu subconsciously wanted to say that he didn't know her. However, when he saw Sima Yue asking this question, he felt that the answer wasn't right. We haven't met before, right? He thought for a while but still couldn't think of any interactions between them. That's true. You haven't seen me like this before, Sima Yue said. But there's someone you definitely know. Feng, or come out and meet your old friend. Creak. The door to Shimin Feng's room opened. He walked out of the house without a mask on his face. You are. Elder Wu recognized Shimin Feng immediately. His face was full of disbelief. Aren't you already dead? Shimin Feng walked down the stairs slowly. Every step he took was like stepping on Elder Wu's heart. This was impossible. When the people from Zhongzheng clan came back, they said that Shimin Feng was beaten to Heartbreak Valley and was seriously injured before he fell. Normal people wouldn't survive if they went down, let alone him who was already injured. Heartbreak Valley, Heartbreak Valley. He finally understood why they would build their forces in Heartbreak Valley. They had a history. Seems like the incident of destroying my Shimin clan left a deep impression on you. We haven't seen each other for so many years, but you still remember what I look like. Shimin Feng walked over and Sima Yue stepped aside. Aren't you dead? How did you survive? Not only did he survive, but he also built a force in such a short time. It was such a strong force. The heavens didn't want to take my life. They wanted me to live and look for you to repay me. Tell me, how can I dare to die like this? Shimin Feng stepped on Elder Wu's arm. Everyone present heard the sound of bones breaking. This Elder Wu was considered a man. Even though it hurt, he didn't make a sound. What do you want? He gritted his teeth and squeezed out a sentence from the gaps of his teeth. What can we do? The only thing we can do is to pay with blood, Shimin Feng said. When Yinyang Palace and Zhongzheng clan destroyed my Shimin clan, you were there, right? You saw how those people killed my clansmen one by one. You saw how they burned my Shimin clan to ashes. Tell me, how should I take revenge for this blood feud? Chapter 1092. Elder Wu's pupils constricted as he recalled the night when his clan was exterminated. Even though so many years had passed, he still remembered it clearly. You remember now? If you want to kill me, then kill me. Elder Wu knew that there was no hope for him to escape today. If it was some other misunderstanding, it would be fine, and they could use other methods to resolve it. However, the hatred of the extermination of the clan was not something that could be resolved just like that. Right now he just wanted to die a quick and painless death. Do you think you can die just because you want to? Shimin Feng moved his foot and looked at the person on the ground with cold eyes. Don't worry, I'll definitely kill you. I'll make you watch yourselves die. Lock them up in the lowest level. Yes, Valley Lord. Although the disciples of Heartbreak Valley knew that the goal of the establishment of Heartbreak Valley was to deal with Huaiyang Palace, Heartbreak Valley and Sage Pavilion, they also knew that there was enmity between them, but they didn't expect it to be such a hatred of extermination. They stepped forward and picked up one person with each hand. They dragged them from the deck to the dark room below the cabin, and locked them up. They still had the scent of spirit beasts on them. If they weren't locked up, they would probably attract those sea beasts. Alright, thank you for your cooperation. These wines have not been tampered with, so you can drink them without worry. Sima Yue said to the people on the deck as she put away the previous wine, and took out a new wine jar. Hee, I knew that boss wouldn't forbid us from drinking. Annie picked up a jar of wine, tore open the paper and smelled it. So fragrant. You talk too much. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him, but she didn't really blame him. It was a good thing that Sima Yue had enough fruit wine, so the entire ship would have enough to drink. Little Spirit saw that they had consumed half of this year's harvest in one night, and lamented that these guys could really drink too much. It seemed that he would have to brew more in the future. Otherwise, he wouldn't have enough to drink in the future. In the past, because there weren't many people who drank it, he didn't have the freedom to brew it. The spirit fruits in the spirit pagoda had rotted batch after batch. Now he could finally brew more. However, when she thought about how she still had a lot of the wine she brewed in the past, it would be fine if she could find more people to deliver it to her. The ship was controlled by Little Seven and Kong Sengyi for 5 to 6 days before they finally saw the island. Although it was called a small island, the area was actually not small. It was estimated to be half the size of a continent. Xiao, don't you find it strange? After the ship docked, Han Miaoshuang watched as Sima Yue kept the ship. She looked at the boundless sea and frowned. Something is indeed wrong. We haven't been attacked by any sea beasts on our way here. This is too abnormal. Su Xiao said. That's right, I was wondering if there were no sea beasts in this sea. Later on we observed from the deck, and found that there were quite a lot of sea beasts, but they avoided us when they saw us. Kong Sengyi said. Could it be that those people know they can't beat us, So they took the initiative to avoid us? Little Seven guessed. You haven't even fought with us. How do you know that you can't beat us? And when we passed by their territory, they didn't even ask us anything. Han Miaoshuang said. That's true. Little Seven rubbed her forehead. I can't figure it out. Do you know? I think I can roughly guess what's going on. Sima Yue said. You really know? If I didn't guess wrongly, it should be that my brothers brought the Violet Water Dragon clan here first. When they passed by the sea, they instructed those sea beasts not to touch us. Sima Yue said. How do you know? Sima Yue closed her eyes and sniffed. There's a faint scent of the dragon clan in the air. They should have arrived here not long ago. You can even smell that? Why can't I smell it? Han Miaoshuang sniffed hard, but she couldn't smell the scent of the Violet Water Dragon clan. You haven't been with them for long, so you can't smell it. Sima Yue said. I've known them for a long time and have interacted with them a lot. Naturally, I'm more familiar with their scent. Boss, what do we do with these people? Anayani asked. Find a good place for them to be buried. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she released a swarm of scarlet bees. While there weren't many people, they quickly got into position and stared at the island as much as possible. At the same time, they wanted to see if there were any historical remains here. The people from Heartbreak Valley each carried one person from Huaiyang Palace and followed Sima Yue to the center of the island. They came to a call and threw them to the ground before retreating quickly. What are you doing to us? I advise you to let us go. Otherwise, Huaiyang Palace will definitely find out that you killed us. An elder from Huaiyang Palace said. Who said we were going to kill you? Sima Yue walked over. We don't have the time to kill you. Moreover, we don't have the time to deal with the things that will come after. If you let us go now, we won't pursue the matter of you offending your superiors today. Some people were still very narcissistic, as if they didn't know what would happen. Is there something wrong with this person's brain? Little Seven said. I think so. Otherwise, why would they say such things? Han Miaoshuang said. What exactly are you going to do to us? The people from Huaiyang Palace were anxious. Naturally, we're going to get people to deal with you, Sima Yue said. Chapter 1093. Elder Wu had a bad feeling in his heart. Did Heartbreak Valley attack them from the beginning? However, he immediately overturned his thoughts and said, Impossible, we didn't come in contact with each other after we came in. You couldn't have done anything to us. Those spirit beasts were arranged by you. We don't know where you will be after you come in. So how can we arrange everything? At Yen. Sima Yue said. You poisoned our bodies, so no matter where we go, we will be attacked by spirit beasts. Elder Wu said. Your luck is not bad. You've been here for so long and there are still so many people alive. Sima Yue said, but I don't know if the Zhongzheng clan is as lucky as you. You poisoned us before you came in. When did this happen? You want to be an understanding ghost? There's no harm in telling you. Haven't you noticed that some of our people are familiar with this place? Sima Yue reminded them. After hearing what she said, Elder Wu looked at the people from Heartbreak Valley. When he saw the old ape, his body shook. Our auspicious beast blood was given by you? You poisoned the blood of the auspicious beast. Smart. Sima Yue laughed unscrupulously. By the way, let me tell you something. You have also wronged the Zhongzheng clan for the Shisha mountain range incident. So there's no such thing as internal strife. It's just that you killed all of our people. You even gave us the poisonous blood of the auspicious beast. Elder Wu figured it all out. You turned us against each other. How ruthless. Am I ruthless? Sima Yue's expression changed. She stomped on his chest, almost flattening it. At that time, when you brought people to exterminate my entire Shiman clan, how come I didn't feel that you were ruthless? When you turned my Shiman clan into a sea of flames, why didn't I feel that you were ruthless? Everything that happened today was brought upon by you. Our revenge against you is not even a fraction. Ugh, Elder Wu couldn't breathe. It was as if he saw the Grim Reaper waving at him. It would be better if he could die like this. You want to die just like that? That would be letting you off too easily. Don't worry, I'll definitely let you enjoy the process of death. Watch as the spirit beasts tear off your legs, eat your organs, and dig out your eyeballs. She retracted her leg and Elder Wu could breathe again. Unfortunately, he did not like this feeling at all. Her face was so pretty, and she looked so comfortable, but the aura on her body was as if she had crawled out of hell. The words she said made the people of the Yin-Yang Palace shudder. Devil! She was a demon! Yue, a spirit beast is coming. This was the first time in his life that he had seen her so crazy. He suddenly understood why she worked so hard to improve herself. But after understanding all this, his heart ached even more for her. Little 11, who was recuperating in the little realm, seemed to have sensed her fury. He moved restlessly and knocked over the wooden tub. Shui Qing Man and Wu Lamai got up from the bottom of the water. They wanted to comfort it, but it flew up, flying around in the air. One moment it landed in the water, the next moment it flew out again, as if it was looking for someone. What's wrong with little 11? Shui Qing Man looked at her child worriedly. I'll bring him back. Wu Lamai flew up from the water and chased after little 11. Little 11 flew everywhere. Every time Wu Lamai wanted to catch him, he would turn and dodge. The father and son chased in the air for a while before stopping. Wu Lamai carried little 11 back. Shui Qing Man saw him struggling in Wu Lamai's arms and asked worriedly, Is little 11 feeling unwell? I don't think so, Wu Lamai said. But seeing little 11 so agitated, he was not sure. Why don't we let Yue come in and take a look? It's good to let her take a look, Shui Qing Man said. Outside the little realm, Sima Yue took out a few bottles of pills, and let Ni and the rest feed them to everyone in the Yin-Yang Palace. What did you feed us? Someone asked. A type of pill that will make you extremely excited. As long as you eat this, no matter how painful your body is, you won't faint until you take your last breath. Sima Yue said faintly. You guys can enjoy the last few minutes of your life. Those people were scared silly. She was going to take revenge for them. Even the people from Heartbreak Valley were shocked by Sima Yue's move. Then they became excited. They always thought that although Sima Yue was very powerful, her heart was not hard enough. They didn't expect her to be such a ruthless character. Letting those people watch them die slowly so that they won't faint until they take their last breath. This idea was too good. Are we leaving this place? Little 7 asked. Sima Yue wanted to say to watch from afar, but she heard Shui Qing Man calling from the little realm. She changed her words. Let's go into the little realm. She took out a small door and opened the little Black Lotus realm. She brought everyone in and went to the reservoir. Foster mother, what's wrong? Yue, you're finally here. Come and take a look at little 11. He's not normal. Shui Qing Man said. Sima Yue's heart tightened when she heard that something happened to little 11. She asked, What's wrong with little 11? He has been very uneasy since the beginning. He couldn't calm down. Your foster father carried him and wanted to run. I don't know where he went now, Shui Qing Man said. Whoosh! Little 11 flew over from afar and rushed straight into Sima Yue's arms. Then, Wu Lamai also flew over from that direction. This fellow is taking advantage of the fact that I don't dare to make any big movements. That's why he ran so fast. If it was a normal person, I would have caught him long ago. Wu Lamai complained about his son's sneakiness. Yue, quickly take a look at him. What's wrong? Shui Qing Man said. Okay. Sima Yue carried little 11 and looked at him. She didn't find anything wrong with him. Why is he quiet now? Wu Lamai looked at little 11 who was quietly in Sima Yue's arms. He was a little surprised. Little 11 rubbed against Sima Yue's arms, as if he was looking for a safe haven. There's nothing wrong, Sima Yue said. Foster mother, what did he do just now? He suddenly became very irritable and flew around randomly. It seemed like he was looking for someone but also seemed like he was venting something. His breathing was messed up. Shui Qing Man said. You was like that too. Don't tell me little 11 became impetuous because of your anger? Little Seven casually made up a story. However, she realized that everyone was staring at her after she finished speaking. She subconsciously shrank her neck. Cough cough, I just said it casually. Hee hee. Don't tell me this little fellow has telepathy with you, eh? And I and E and the rest also thought of this and were shocked by this idea. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1094. Don't spout nonsense. Little 11 didn't even form a contract with me. How could he feel my emotions? Sima Yue said. It was understandable that little 11 was close to her. After all, she had nurtured it for a long time. It was normal for it to like her scent. However, this did not mean that their emotions were the same. For a long time, only contracted beasts and their contractors could understand each other. How could there be someone like them? Shui Qingman and Wu Lamai didn't look too good. Although they liked Sima Yue and treated her as their own daughter, they didn't want their son to become someone else's contracted beast. However, this was indeed strange. Sima Yue was angry outside, so why would little 11, who had been quiet all this while, suddenly become irritable? Fortunately, they were very sure that little 10 had not established a contract with anyone. Otherwise, they would have been suspicious. Perhaps it is because of the contract, Wu Lingyu said. Senior brother? Sima Yue frowned. She did not expect Wu Lingyu to think so too. Don't worry, I didn't say that he made a contract with you. Wu Lingyu said. Then what happened? Wu Lamai asked. Wu Lingyu looked at the disciples of Heartbreak Valley. Sima Yue understood his meaning and chased the others away, leaving only Shimen Feng, Little 7, Wu Lamai and his wife. Brother Lingyu, can you tell me now? Little 7 urged. If I'm not wrong, Qian should be the divine vermilion bird. Wu Lingyu said. What? Everyone present cried out. Divine vermilion bird, are you sure? Little 7 jumped up. Sima Yue was also in disbelief. Previously, the four-winged rocks had called her the Crimson Flame Divine Bird, but she had never associated her with the legendary four mythical beasts. Who would have thought that Crimson Flame was actually the legendary vermilion bird? However, she should have guessed Crimson Flame's identity earlier. Little Rock was the king of the rocks, but he was still respectful when facing Crimson Flame. He didn't have the aura of a king, which meant that Crimson Flame's identity was higher than his. To be able to have a status even nobler than the king of the rocks, this identity was already obvious, but she subconsciously avoided this question. Wu Lamai had already discussed this with Shui Qingman. If he could help little 11 improve her bloodline, was there a need to mention Qi Yan's identity? However, guessing was one thing, and hearing it from someone else was another. He was still very shocked. Sima Yue sent her divine sense into the spirit pagoda. She saw that Crimson Flame had been in seclusion ever since he helped little 11 activate his bloodline. She didn't dare to disturb him, so she called Little Rock out. Little Peng, you knew all along? She asked. Big brother Crimson Flame doesn't want us to say it. Little Rock answered her question indirectly. It's true. Sima Yue said in a daze. She was obviously shocked by the news. Wow, Big Brother Crimson Flame is actually the divine vermilion bird. Oh my god, my little heart is about to jump out. Little 7 pressed on her chest, exaggeratedly taking in deep breaths. Although little 11 had the divine dragon's bloodline, it was only a potential divine dragon. Before the bloodline completely evolved, he was still a violet water dragon. However, Crimson Flame was different. He was a real divine bird, a vermilion bird. Just thinking about it made her unable to breathe. Shimen Feng also didn't expect that his sister would actually form a contract with the divine vermilion bird after her rebirth. Although she was very surprised, Shui Qingman was still most concerned about her son. What does this have to do with little 11? Why did you say it's because of the contract? Her voice pulled the others back to their senses. Previously, when Crimson Flame helped little 11 activate his bloodline, He used his own blood essence. Wu Lingyu said, maybe when he activated his bloodline, his blood essence was absorbed by Little 11. Because Crimson Flame and Yu have a contract, Yu and Little 11's relationship became closer. But I don't feel that there is a contract between Little 11 and me, Sima Yue said. You guys don't have a contract. Naturally, you can't feel the contract. Wu Lingyu said. It's just that this made your relationship closer. For example, the telepathy between twins. There is no contract, but you can still feel each other's thoughts. Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at Little 11 in her arms. She felt weird. She had telepathy with a dragon egg? This was too mysterious. Especially when this dragon egg was a future divine dragon. It was unbelievable just thinking about it. Shui Qingman and Wu Lama heaved a sigh of relief. It was okay to have telepathy as long as it wasn't a contract. However, if Yu Yue and Little 11 really had a contract, they would probably compromise in the end. Godmother, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Sima Yue looked at Shui Qingman apologetically. It's okay. You and Little 11 are considered siblings. It's better if you guys are closer, Shui Qingman said with a smile. Sister, sister. Everyone heard Little 11 calling out to Sima Yue nonstop. His tone was very excited. However, his calls were transmitted through divine sense. There was no real voice. Little 11, please take care of me in the future. Sima Yue flicked the dragon egg. Take care of me. Ha ha ha. Qi Yan's identity and Little 11's matter made Sima Yue's original hatred and anger fade away. Hence, when she came outside and saw the broken limbs all over the ground, she calmed down a lot. Boss, why did those spirit beasts only tear their bodies apart and not eat them? Anione asked. The poison I gave them will make them emit a foul stench. Although those spirit beasts were attracted by the initial fragrance, they weren't so hungry that they couldn't stop themselves from eating. When they found out that these eggs were extremely smelly, they naturally wouldn't eat them. Sima Yue said. Anione and the rest shuddered. Boss's heart was really evil. They must not offend her in the future. Sima Yue looked at Anione expression and knew what he was thinking. She pretended to be serious and said, Do you want to try it too? Wow, boss, I've always been very obedient. We're not enemies. You won't treat me like this, right? Anione quickly expressed. Pfft. Everyone laughed. This guy was simply a clown. Valley Lord, Vice Valley Lord, what do we do with these bodies? Keep them. These are the evidence of the spirit beasts killing Huayang Palace. When people come later, they will help us spread the news. Shimen Feng said. We don't have to care about this. The rest of the time is for us to look for opportunities. If they were alive, they wanted to see them. If they were dead, they wanted to see their corpses. If they couldn't see their corpses, the people from Huayang Palace would come and ask them for them. Chapter 1095. After dealing with the people of the Yinyang Palace, the group headed towards the depths of the island, preparing to search for opportunities on the island. Little Seven, who was leaning against Han Miaoshuang on Chongming's back, suddenly sat up and looked in the direction of the sea. What's wrong? Han Miaoshuang asked her. I seem to smell something. And it's a very familiar smell, but I can't remember what it is. Little Seven said. You've smelled so many scents, it's normal that you don't remember. It must be something to eat. Han Miaoshuang said with a smile. No. Little Seven said with certainty. This isn't the smell of a big radish. I've never smelled this before. Definitely not. You've never smelled it before, so why do you find it familiar? Han Miaoshuang asked. I just feel that it's familiar. I don't know why. Little Seven pouted and said, If I knew what it was, I wouldn't be like this. Smell it. Isn't there a very light fragrance? Hearing that, the others closed their eyes and sniffed, but they didn't find anything special. There's no smell. Little Seven, are you mistaken? Han Miaoshuang asked. No, there must be some kind of smell. Do you smell it? Little Seven asked. Sima Yue took a few deep breaths and shook her head, saying, This place is filled with grass and trees, and there are many kinds of faint fragrances. Which one are you talking about? Aya, why can't you guys smell it? Little Seven anxiously kicked Chongming. Wu Lingyu, who was at the side, furrowed his eyebrows in discomfort. Sima Yu just happened to have something to say to him. Seeing his pale face and furrowed eyebrows, she asked nervously, Senior brother, what's wrong? I'm not feeling well. Wu Lingyu did not force herself to stay awake. She leaned on Sima Yue. What's wrong, brother Lingyu? Little Seven asked. Senior brother Yu. Before Sima Yue could finish her sentence, Wu Lingyu fainted. His head that was resting on Sima Yue's shoulder kept sliding down. Senior brother? Chongming land. Sima Yue supported Wu Lingyu and shouted at Chongming. Chongming brought them back to land. Sima Yue laid Wu Lingyu flat and checked his body. Yue, how is he? Shimin Feng and others also flew over and asked. His pulse is very slow. He seems to be in a coma. Sima Yue said. But it's okay. He'll wake up after a while. You knew that this would happen, so don't worry. 7 consoled. Wu Lingyu encountered a problem during the soul fusion. Her body would fall into a coma every once in a while. Even if she woke up, there would be a period of weakness. This was something that Sima Yue and Little Seven already knew. Now that she knew that he had fainted because of this, Yue slowly calmed down. You already knew? What's going on? Shimin Feng asked. Senior brother's body has an old illness. He would fall into a coma every once in a while. He'll be fine when he wakes up. Sima Yue explained. Is there really no problem? Why did he faint so suddenly? Han Miaoshuang was puzzled. There really weren't any signs. Sima Yue said. Could it be related to the smell that Little Seven mentioned just now? It seems like Little Seven said that he was feeling unwell after smelling something. Kong Sengyi guessed. I'm going to bring him to the Little Realm for a check. You guys don't have to follow me. Feng, bring them forward first. Sima Yue said. She hadn't checked Wu Lingyu's body in detail yet. She didn't know what would happen after she went in. She also didn't know how long it would take. If they followed her, she didn't know how long it would take. She might as well let them search on their own. Shimin Feng understood this as well, so he didn't say anything else. If there's any danger, remember to contact us. You too. Shimin Feng brought the people from Heartbreak Valley and Kong Valley away. Little Seven, Han Miaoshuang and Su Xiaoxiao stayed behind. Help me look around. I'm going to check Senior brother. Sima Yue said. The 3 of them nodded. They formed a triangle around her, and surrounded her in the middle. Sima Yue inserted her divine sense into Wu Lingyu's body, and checked his condition carefully. What's going on? After she went in, she realized that Wu Lingyu's internal organs were all beating very slowly. His heartbeat was less than half of a normal person's. Qilin Qilin. She called for Wu Lingyu's contract beast in his body. What? Fire Qilin's lazy voice came. When Senior brother fainted last time, were his internal organs like this too? No. It was normal. Fire Qilin said. But I can feel that he's fine now. He's just sleeping. Senior brother said that there were some signs when he fainted last time. Why is it so sudden this time? Do you know the reason? If you don't know, how would I know? I'm not a doctor. Alright, don't disturb me. I'm resting. Fire Qilin's voice gradually became softer. It seemed that he had fallen asleep along with Wu Lingyu. Sima Yue was helpless. She could only continue to check his condition. She came to Wu Lingyu's dantian. She realized that there were 2 balls of light, one black and one white. The black one should be the devil's power that came from his soul. The other ball of white light was covered with various colors of spiritual energy. The black and white light existed in his dantian at the same time, but they didn't seem to be together. It seems like Senior brother is right. One belongs to the soul, and the other belongs to the body. The 2 of them are in different containers. So even if their attributes clash, it's not as dangerous as it is for me. Sima Yue sighed. She didn't know how he escaped from the fate of the devil god's body. She checked him carefully. She still didn't find any abnormalities, other than the fact that his organs were operating slower by half. After searching for a while, she still couldn't find anything. She could only leave. Since Fire Qilin said that he was fine, then he should be fine. Han Miaoshuang and the others saw that she was done checking and flew back. Little junior brother, how is it? Han Miaoshuang asked. I didn't find anything. Sima Yue said. But his contract beast said that he's fine. So he should be fine. Then what do we do now? Wait for him to wake up? Little Seven asked. No need. We don't know when he'll wake up. We don't know how long we have to wait. Sima Yue said. Put him in the spirit pagoda. Let Little Spirit and the others watch over him. That's fine too. This way, it won't affect our search for the ruins. Han Miaoshuang said. Sima Yue kept Wu Lingyu in the spirit pagoda. Then, she let Chongming bring them to the depths of the island. This book came from the book. Chapter 1096. They randomly picked a direction to walk in, not knowing if it was the same direction as Shimen Feng and the others. Since Yin Lin asked her to act alone, then there was no need for her to chase after them. Is there really an emperor's historical remains in this immortal land? Little Seven said. Isn't this immortal land supposed to be sealed off? Why would those emperors live here? This immortal land and little realm used to be connected to the mainland. Naturally there would be people living here. It's just that we don't know if it was an emperor in the past. Han Miaoshuang said. Wow, you even know about this. Little Seven looked at Han Miaoshuang with admiration. Although the Han clan isn't that great, they are still a big clan. It's normal to know some things. Han Miaoshuang said. Then what else do you know? Little Seven asked. That's all I know, but I read in a book before. This immortal land doesn't seem to be in our galaxy. There are other galaxies as well. Maybe there are things and people here that don't belong to our continent. Han Miaoshuang said. Other galaxies? Yeah, I read in a book when I was young that we aren't the only ones. There are other continents, etc. But I was young then. I didn't know much about this. After that, I didn't see that book again. I don't know if what the book said is true. Han Miaoshuang shrugged. Are there really other places? Yu, what do you think? Little Seven blinked her big eyes. Maybe. Sima Yue wasn't too surprised. In the past, the ancient people felt that the place they grew up in was very big, but they found out that there was another country. After that, they felt that the country was very big, but there were other countries outside the country. There were other continents outside the continent they lived in. After that, they found out that the earth was round, and that the earth revolved around the sun. And then they found out about the solar system, the Milky Way, the endless universe, etc. Since it was like this in the past, she wouldn't be too surprised if they told her how many continents there were. Speaking of emperors, Yu, how's the halberd in your hand? Han Miaoshuang asked. I've already refined it these years, but I can only barely use it. And without getting the other half, it doesn't have much power. Not as good as Ling Long, Sima Yue added in her heart. Inside the spirit pagoda, the heaven's halberd that Little Roar was using to dig suddenly became very excited. It shook vigorously, but was pressed down by Little Roar. Don't move, we have to dig a hole. Little Roar patted the heaven's halberd. Little Spirit appeared in the air, and looked down at the filthy Little Roar holding the heaven's halberd with a helpless look. He had been here for so long, but the guy below still hadn't noticed. This was the first time he had seen him so serious about something. What are you up to now? He asked aloud. Little Roar twisted his butt and turned his head to look at Little Spirit before turning back and saying, I'm digging a hole. Why are you digging holes? Little Spirit flew down and saw that it had dug dozens of holes. His face was full of black lines. Yu said that when a girl is unhappy, if a boy gives her roses, she will be happy. Little Dream is unhappy all day and doesn't smile anymore, so I want to plant a field of roses. This way, when she sees these roses, she will be happy. Little Roar waved the heaven's halberd in his hand and said excitedly. Little Spirit didn't know what to say about this unreliable guy. If he was asking for a beating, he was doing it to make Little Dream happy. If he was being considerate, he actually used the heaven's halberd to dig here and dug so many holes. If you want to dig a hole, so be it. But you dug a 1-meter deep hole. Are you going to plant roses or bury yourself in it? If you knew that you used the heavens halberd to dig, do you think she would confine you? Little Spirit said faintly. Little Roar's excited eyes became sober. It seemed that you cherished this thing. Thinking of her punishing him, his 2 ears drooped. You wouldn't punish me, right? Even he didn't have the confidence to say these words. I think it'll be hard. Little Spirit said. Don't scare me. Little Roar hugged the heavens halberd and said, do you think I am? Little Spirit had a serious look on his face, causing Little Roar to feel even more chills down his spine. Little Dream walked over from afar and carried Little Roar out of the hole. She smiled and said, don't be afraid. You won't punish you. The current Little Dream was very different from before. If she was a pure black lotus in the past, then she was now a black rose, beautiful and enchanting, ready to prick people at any time. Little Roar saw the smile on Little Dream's face and threw away the heavens halberd in his hand. He said excitedly, Little Dream, you finally smiled. After so many days, you finally smiled. Little Dream stuck her face on Little Roar's back and said, how lucky am I to have you and everyone to accompany me. She was a sinner and should suffer endless pain and blame, not their love for her. Little Dream, we are a family. Little Roar felt the bitterness in Little Dream's words and comforted her. If I make a mistake in the future, don't despise me. I won't. Little Roar is the cutest. Little Dream kissed Little Roar's forehead and promised. Heh. Little Roar was a little confused by Little Dream's kiss and could only laugh foolishly. Little Spirit looked at the silly Little Roar and shook his head in disdain. However, he still said to Little Dream, although this guy is unreliable, there is one thing he said that is right. We are a family, and you are not the only one who has to bear those things. We will be with you. Little Spirit rarely said such emotional words. After he finished speaking, he felt a little embarrassed and ran away. However, after he left, the holes that Little Roar had dug were all filled back up. Following that, rose sprouts grew out of the soil. Those sprouts grew up at a speed visible to the eyes, and very quickly, beautiful and fragrant flowers bloomed. Moreover, there were flowers of various colors. This place became a rose garden, a garden specially formed for Little Dream. The smile on Little Dream's face widened, but tears fell from her eyes. Thank you all. Little Roar was in Little Dream's embrace with an unhappy face. This Little Spirit only knew how to steal his limelight. It was obviously him who wanted to plant roses for Little Dream, but this guy turned this place into a garden, and even filled up the holes that he had painstakingly dug. Unhappy. Little Dream carried Little Roar to the garden and sat down. Smelling the thick fragrance of the flowers, she said, Little Roar, you can play here. I need to quickly digest the energy in my body and go out early. Oh. Little Roar walked out dejectedly. Little Roar, you are the best. When Little Roar heard this, his spirit returned and he walked majestically. Chapter 1097. Sima Yue sensed what was happening in the spirit pagoda and smiled faintly. She didn't think that Little Roar would be so good. Seeing that he had made Little Dream's mood better, she didn't pursue the matter of him using the heavens halberd to dig the ground. If Emperor Qingdao knew that his divine weapon was being used as a tool for digging, it was unknown whether or not he would be so angry that he would directly go to Little Roar and crush him into a pancake. Thinking of Emperor Qingdao, she unconsciously sighed. Back then at Sky-Reaching Pavilion, Emperor Qingdao's words to her rang in her ears. From time to time, he would jump out to remind her that the world was changing, and that she had to find the reason and the solution. Emperor. He wondered if he would really encounter the ruins of an emperor this time. This island is really big. They had been flying around the island for a long time, but they hadn't even seen a single person, let alone the ruins. Previously, when they were close to the sea, there were still some spirit beasts roaming about, but now there was nothing. After walking for a few more days, they still didn't see any places that looked like ruins. Are there really relics here? Little Seven was about to lose her patience. This is a deserted island with no signs of life. I think so too. This place doesn't look like a ruin, Han Miaoshuang said. Why not? Su Xiaoxiao asked. Look at the places we walked past. Even if there weren't any great treasures, at least there would be some extinct spirit herbs or something. But here, there are only ordinary trees. There's no spiritual energy at all. It's even worse than the plants in other places. Han Miaoshuang said. That's right, these trees and grasses don't have any spiritual energy. I can't smell anything. Little Seven agreed. We've been in this forest for 2 days, but we haven't found anything, Su Xiao said. Don't you think that the more abnormal it is, the more suspicious it is? Sima Yue said. If the sunrise was abnormal, there must be something wrong. The more abnormal it was, the more it meant that there was a problem. Is there a problem? Seven asked. Think about it. The entire immortal land is filled with spiritual energy. Every flower and grass is filled with spiritual energy. But why are the flowers and trees on this island the most ordinary, without any spiritual energy at all? Sima Yue said. Why do you think this is? What else could it be? There definitely wasn't any spiritual energy for them to eat. Without anything to eat, they naturally became skin and bones. No, they became normal plants. Little Seven said. Then why is there spiritual energy everywhere except here? Sima Yue asked again. Do you even need to think about it? It was definitely eaten by someone. Little Seven said confidently. Who could eat so cleanly in such a large area? He must be someone very powerful. That's it. Little Seven slapped her forehead and said. That's right. If there wasn't anything here that absorbed all the spiritual energy, this situation wouldn't have happened. Could it be that something in the ruins has absorbed the spiritual energy? I don't know, Sima Yue said. We'll know when we find that thing. Then let's continue. Little Seven's interest was piqued. As long as there was a treasure, she would definitely be excited. Aren't you very sensitive to treasures? Use your nose to smell and see where the treasure is. Maybe we'll find the ruins. Han Miaoshuang teased. I'm just more sensitive to big radishes, unlike Little Two who is sensitive to all treasures. If only Little Two was here, Little Seven said. I wonder where Little Two is now, and if he's doing well. Sima Yue missed that little kid. I think that it must be a plant-type treasure to be able to make these flowers and trees lose their spiritual energy. Only then can these flowers and trees be obedient and not absorb spiritual energy, Su Xiaoxiao guessed. Very likely, Han Miaoshuang said. So Little Seven, use your nose to smell and see where the treasure is. Her eyes were smiling, teasing Little Seven like a dog's nose. If Little Seven stuck out her chin, showing Han Miaoshuang the back of her head. I'll let Huahua try, Sima Yue said as she called Huahua out, asking her to check if there were any abnormalities here. Huahua looked uncomfortable the moment she came out. Her face was pale and her forehead was sweating profusely. Huahua, what happened to you? Huahua couldn't maintain her human form and turned into a man-eating flower, landing in Sima Yue's hands. Master, there's a very powerful thing here. With it around, I can't breathe, Huahua said in fear. Do you know where it is? Sima Yue asked. East. Sima Yue saw Huahua trembling as she spoke, and could only keep her back into the spirit pagoda. Seems like that thing's level is very high. If not, even Huahua wouldn't be so afraid of it. Su Xiao said. Huahua was the man-eating flower king after all. Among the plant types, she was considered to be of a higher level. Those plant-type spirit beasts would be intimidated by her aura when they saw her. But now, she only felt the existence of that thing, and she was already suppressed to this extent. How powerful was that thing? Yu and the other two thought of this question. Then, they turned to look at Little Seven who was looking around curiously. Huahua didn't even have the power to resist for a moment. Why was this guy so relaxed when they were both plant-type spirit beasts? She didn't even feel the aura of that guy. Was it because she was from a different world? Or that thing didn't even enter Little Seven's eyes? But thinking about it, Little Seven was the eye of the earth after all. She was a treasure born from heaven and earth. She wasn't an ordinary plant-type spirit beast. Since we already know the direction, let's hurry over. Little Seven said. I'm very curious about this thing now. Let's go. Sima Yu called out Little Rock and got him to bring them to the east. With Little Rock's speed, they flew for an entire day before flying out of the forest. This forest is huge. We've flown so far and we still haven't seen that thing. Did we miss it? Han Miao Shuang asked. No. Little Seven said confidently. I smell that smell. It's the smell I mentioned before. It's getting stronger and stronger. I think we're getting closer to it. The further east they went, the more serious Little Seven's expression became. She didn't even talk to them anymore. After going over a small mountain range, what entered their eyes was a boundless grassland. And in the middle of the grassland, a towering tree swayed with the wind. Its height was comparable to a small mountain. The tree crown covered a radius of 1 kilometer. A single tree represented an entire region. This is that treasure? Han Miao Shuang and the rest were stunned. Ordinary trees, even if they lived for tens of thousands of years, their tree crown wouldn't be so big. They would choose to develop their roots. If the tree crown was so big, then how big was this tree? This book came from the Book in Book #web. Chapter 1098. Not only was the tree huge, it was also very special. Golden leaves. Sima Yue and the rest looked at the golden book and stopped in their tracks, not daring to go near it. Golden leaves, what tree is this? Han Miao Shuang and the rest had never seen a tree with golden leaves. They didn't know what tree it was. Divine tree banyan. Little Seven muttered. Little Seven, you know this? Little Seven didn't answer Han Miao Shuang. She flew away from Little Rock and flew towards the banyan tree. Little Seven. Sima Yue subconsciously wanted to grab Little Seven. They didn't even know if the tree was dangerous. They couldn't just fly over. But Little Seven's speed was very fast. She only caught the wind that she brought out. Little Seven came to the front of the banyan tree, paused, flew into the leaves and disappeared. Even her aura disappeared. Little Seven. Sima Yue kept Chongming into the spirit pagoda and flew towards the banyan tree with Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao. There's a spirit barrier in front, Su Xiaoxiao said. Sima Yue called out Little Roar and merged with him, then pulled one in each hand and brought them through the spirit barrier, stopping in front of the banyan tree. Where did Little Seven go? They looked around the tree, but didn't see Little Seven's figure. Let's split up and see if she's in the tree crown, Han Miao Shuang said. The three of them nodded and each of them looked in a direction. Aya! Han Miao Shuang suddenly cried out. Sima Yue turned her head and saw her being wrapped by a ray of light, then she disappeared. Ugh! A groan came from Su Xiaoxiao's side. When Sima Yue looked over, he had disappeared as well. Senior brother, senior sister? She called out a few times but no one answered her. She walked under the tree carefully, but what she didn't know was that as she walked, she disappeared under the tree. The banyan tree returned to its usual silence. A wave of dizziness hit her. She was wrapped by something and couldn't breathe properly. She tried to struggle, but she didn't have enough strength here. She felt that she was falling. She didn't know how many 100 meters she had fallen, but she still didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. She mobilized the spiritual power in her body, trying to keep her body balanced so that she could fly down, but her body couldn't move at all. In a daze, she saw that she was getting closer and closer to the ground, but her body still couldn't move. She subconsciously closed her eyes and wondered if she would become the first spirit master to fall to her death. The pain she expected did not come. She opened her eyes and saw that she had stopped a few meters above the ground. Before she could react, the light dissipated and she fell heavily to the ground. It didn't hurt. She reached out and touched it. There were leaves all over her body. Judging from how soft they were, there should be a thick layer. She got up from the ground and looked at the dark place. She released a flame to illuminate the place. There was a sealed hole that was about the size of 2 basketball courts. It was surrounded by brown tree bark folds. It seemed like this was the tree hole of the dendrobium tree. Little Seven? Senior brother? Senior sister? No one answered her. It seemed like they were not here. She looked around. Other than the tree bark, there was nothing else. She looked up again. There was a dark hole above her. She tried to mobilize the spiritual power in her body again. It was useless. The spiritual power stayed in her dantian. There was no reaction at all. Without spiritual power, she could not fly. It was even more impossible for her to fly up. Chongming. She called out for Chongming. However, Chongming did not come out this time. Little rock. Thousand resonance? No one answered her. Don't waste your energy. You can't contact anyone here. A gentle voice suddenly sounded, giving her a shock. Who is it? She looked at the sky. No one was here. Suddenly, the tree trunk lit up with a golden light. In the light, the image of a cultured and elegant man appeared on the tree trunk. You are the dendrobium tree? Sima Yue asked with uncertainty. Yes. The man smiled and said, You can call me the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life of the elf tribe? She didn't know why, but seeing him like this, she subconsciously said this. Elf tribe? When did a new tribe appear in this world? The man muttered. His eyes unconsciously revealed a faint sadness. It seems like this is not the Tree of Life that I know of. Did you bring me here? She asked softly. Facing such a man, she couldn't bear to speak loudly. It was as if she was afraid that she would disturb his gentleness. Yes. The man admitted. Why did you bring me here? Sima Yue asked again. Those who can find this place are fated people. They can obtain the inheritance of the Tree of Life. However, before that, they have to go through a test. Then are my senior brothers and sisters the same? Yes. However, they are in another place. The man said. Everyone's test is individual. Then what about my spirit beast? Are you talking about the one on you? It has already returned to your contracted space. Here, you can only rely on yourself. You can't rely on external forces. Is Little Seven the same? Who is Little Seven? The Eye of Earth. Oh, you're talking about her. She is too weak now. I will help her evolve. She is different from you. She doesn't need to be tested. The man said. You can help her evolve. Of course. Although she is not an ordinary plant, she can still do it. The man said. Not an ordinary plant? Then what is she? Have you ever seen a plant that likes to fight so much? The man asked. Sima Yue thought for a while. She didn't think so. Even if it was Huahua, she had a strong attack power. However, she wasn't particularly fond of fighting. But Little Seven was different. Every time she saw someone she didn't like, she would directly attack them. She always talked about beating people up. Plant-type spirit beasts were mostly gentle. They were filled with love and vitality. However, Little Seven, sigh, just thinking about it gave her a headache. Then what is Little Seven? Sima Yue asked. The Eye of the Earth was a race with very strong fighting power in ancient times. They belonged to the plant-type spirit beasts. Later on they gradually declined. Until now, I have only seen this Eye of the Earth. The man said. Do you know what the Eye of the Earth does? Sima Yue shook her head and said. I only know that the Eye of Earth can help in cultivation. I don't know what else it can do. The Eye of Earth's chi can indeed help you humans in cultivation. However, it has an even greater use. What? It can help in advancement. The man said. Seeing Sima Yue's disapproving face, he added. If a monarch rank expert wants to become a monarch, with the help of the Eye of Earth, the success rate will increase by 70%. If a monarch wants to advance, with the help of the Eye of Earth, the success rate will also increase. Chapter 1099. Sima Yue was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. After living for so many years, she was rarely so surprised. After a while, she finally regained her focus. At the same time, a deep sense of worry welled up in her heart. With such a heaven-defying effect, wouldn't Xiaoqi be in even more danger if others knew about it? Perhaps it is because of this that the Eye of the Earth has become like this. She sighed. If she is strong, the danger will be much less. The man had been observing her. After learning about the heaven-defying effect of the Earth's Eye, she didn't have a trace of greed or excitement. She was only surprised and worried after the surprise. Unlike the people he had met in the past, They would become greedy after knowing some good things. You don't want to take her for yourself? As far as I know, there is no contract between you and her. Do you want to form a contract with her before she becomes very strong? He asked tentatively. Sima Yue shook her head. I have never thought of forming a contract with little Seven. Even though I now know that she has a greater use, I never thought of it that way. Why? With her, you will become stronger and go further. Without her, I can become stronger and go further. Sima Yue said. Don't tell me you don't want external help? Continue to walk on your own? The man asked. Of course not, Sima Yue said. I'm not a cultivator. I'll naturally use external forces if I need them. It's just that little Seven is my friend, my little sister. She's someone I've set my mind on. In my eyes, she's not a cultivation treasure. She's just my friend. I won't sacrifice my friends for my own improvement. The man stared at Sima Yue and sighed in his heart. In this place he was the master. Whether Sima Yue was telling the truth or not could not be hidden from him. He could feel that when she said those words just now, she really did think of little Seven as a companion, and not a treasure. I hope you'll stick to what you're thinking now, he said softly. I hope it will always be like this. Sima Yue said, perhaps in the future, when my realm changes, some of my thoughts will also change. But I hope that no matter how far I go, I can always stay the same. What a great sentence. The man's voice was a little excited. He hadn't heard such words for a long time. It was impossible for a person to have the same mentality for their entire life. With the increase of strength, the difference in realm, the richness of experience, and the change in living environment, people would always change. But no matter how much she changed, as long as her heart remained the same, she was still her. I didn't expect you to be able to see things so clearly at such a young age. The man said. It's a pity that you're in a bad situation now. I don't know if you can stay like this forever. Huh. Sima Yue did not understand what he was talking about. Your body is very bad. The man said. I haven't seen a god-devil body for many years. Fortunately, you've trained your body well. Otherwise, you would have exploded and died. Sima Yue did not expect him to find out about her problem so quickly. She was stunned and then smiled bitterly. Although I've trained well, it's still a threat if it's not solved. Your Dao heart is firm. You'll find a way. The man said. I believe in my judgment. You're more confident than me, Sima Yue said. You're actually not that worried yourself, right? The man smiled and exposed her thoughts. Hee, it's not that I'm not worried. I just feel that if I can find a way, I'll find one. If I can't find one, then I can only accept it, Sima Yue said. But before I die, I want to complete my task and die without regrets. You're quite open-minded. Didn't the ancients say that everyone will die sooner or later? As long as I don't have any regrets, even if I die, it doesn't matter. As long as I don't die before I complete my task, it's fine. The man chuckled. Your way of thinking is really different from others. But it's to my liking. Initially, I wanted to give you something and let you go. But now I've changed my mind. Didn't you say that there's still a test? Sima Yue asked curiously. The test is already over. You've passed the test. The man said. Chatting is the test. Sima Yue blinked. Was the test that easy? Hee, what else did you think it was? The man chuckled. What kind of physical torture and mental torture do I have to give you? That was what she really thought. I already knew about your matters when you entered this place. The man said, your talent, your perseverance, I've already known about it from what happened in the past. So I don't have to test you on these. You know everything about me? Did that mean that he knew about her secrets too? You don't have to worry about others knowing about your secrets. The man said, I've accumulated many people's secrets here. I don't have the heart to reveal all of them. Hee, it's inevitable that I'm worried. Sima Yue chuckled. In the past, those who passed my test would obtain my essence. However, I think that I can give you something else if you can obtain it. The man continued. So you're saying that I might not be able to obtain it? Sima Yue asked. Yes and no. The man said. Then can I exchange it for something else? Sima Yue asked. Exchange it for something else? Yes, how about this? I'll exchange it for something else. I don't want it anymore. Come with me. Sima Yue said shamelessly. The man was amused by Sima Yue's idea. However, he did not agree to her request. The golden light dispersed and the image on the tree trunk disappeared. The tree veins here contain a lot of meaning. If you can understand it, you can leave this place. If you can't, you'll have to stay here until you understand it. Hey, you can't be like this. Aren't you kidnapping me? Sima Yue shouted. Even if the joke she made with him just now made him unhappy, there was no need for him to be like this. Qingyi. What? My name. The man said. Qingyi? Aren't you yellow? Why are you called Qingyi and not Huangyi? Qingyi decided to ignore her. This guy was indeed a hooligan. Qingyi, if I understand it, will you come with me? Sima Yue asked the air. He still ignored her. If you don't answer me, I'll take it as a yes. When I come out of seclusion, you'll have to come with me. I'll bring you to see the outside world. Qingyi was a little regretful. He shouldn't have allowed her to comprehend his Tao. Chapter 1100. Read 336. The silent aura in the tree hole enveloped her. She seemed to feel that he was a little angry, although he wasn't really angry. At his age, there were very few things that could anger him. Sima Yue walked around, but there were only tree folds around her. Could it be that he wants me to comprehend some principles by looking at these things? She slowly sat down. The soft leaves exuded a faint fragrance, which made her feel comfortable all over after smelling it. Tree folds, what kind of logic can be contained in tree folds? She stared at the tree folds, but tree folds were tree folds. She did not find anything different. At the same time, in the other tree holes, Han Miaoshuang and Su Xiaoxiao were also comprehending. But unlike her, they were in an illusion. What they saw were different environments, not the most primitive tree folds like hers. Qingyi. Little Seven lay on a tree branch and called out to the person beside her. Qingyi turned her head to look at the young lady in front of her. She used to be her friend, a very, very good friend. Qingyi, I remember you. Little Seven said. I'm sorry, I forgot about you. Qingyi smiled and reached out to pat her head, saying, I didn't expect you to degenerate to this extent. You must have suffered a lot over the years. Little Seven shook her head. Without memories, there is no pain. As she spoke, she sat up and leaned on Qingyi's body, saying, But after so many years, you still remember. You remember what happened in the past. You are in much more pain than me. Qingyi hugged Little Seven. Her small body was different from before. The feeling was different, but the smell was the same as in his memory. How many years had it been? He couldn't remember how many years he hadn't seen her. When you were captured, your spirit energy was sucked dry by them. From then on, no one knew if you were dead or alive. I thought I would never see you again. He caressed her hair like before, his movements as gentle as ever. Unfortunately, they were no longer the same people as before. Little Seven laid in his embrace, absorbing the scent of his body. Qingyi, did you know? When I was conscious, I always thought that I was just a newborn baby. I was like a baby who was curious about the world and slowly grew up. But the moment I saw you, my memories were completely restored. Only then did I realize that things were not as I thought they were. I am very happy to be able to see you again, to be able to remember our past. It's a pity that we weren't strong at that time. If not, we wouldn't have to watch them take you away. Qingyi was regretful. Little Seven raised her head and saw him blaming himself, her heart. What happened back then wasn't your fault at all. You didn't have to punish yourself like this. You came here and stayed for so many years. I can't imagine how you have survived all these years. How lonely must it be for you to be here alone? Qingyi just smiled faintly. Lonely? Should be. But he was so lonely that he had forgotten what loneliness was. Sigh, what should we do? Little Seven sighed. What? Little Seven reached out and pinched Qingyi's face, then touched her own little face and said, What should I do? Although I've recovered my memories, I still feel that I'm so young and you're so old. Will there be a generation gap between us? Qingyi was speechless. Seeing the smile in Little Seven's eyes, he helplessly and lovingly said, "Little Seven, you're being naughty. Little Seven, you have become bad." "How have I become naughty? This is indeed a problem between us. Don't you think that I am very young now?" Little Seven stared at Qingyi, as if she was going to get angry if he said no. Qingyi laughed. "Yes, you are very young now, like a little doll." "Che, you are laughing at me." Little Seven pouted. "No," Qingyi said. Seeing that she was angry, he was not anxious. "Say, if Sima Yue knows that I am teasing her, will she be angry with me?" "No, Yu is not that easily angry," Little Seven said. "Moreover, you are not teasing her. If she can understand her own Tao from you, she will be grateful to you. She is indeed not bad. She is also good to your heart," Qingyi said. "I will be at ease if you follow her. You are not coming with me." Little Seven grabbed Qingyi's clothes and looked at him nervously. If you don't come with me, what if you can't protect me? What if one day I am taken away again? If my spiritual energy is sucked dry again, can I still regain my consciousness? What if I forget about you again?" Wah. The more Little Seven said, the sadder she became. She burst into tears. Qingyi saw Little Seven's tears and panicked again after so many years, thinking about what she said if it all became true. No, it won't. He will not let it become true. "All right, don't cry. I didn't say that I won't go with you." Qingyi gently wiped her tears and comforted her. He originally wanted to say that he was used to this place, but he could not let anything happen to her. He did not know if he could bear the pain of losing her again. "Really?" Little Seven asked while sobbing. "Of course it's true. When have I ever lied to you? Before you grew up, when I was still a dumpling, you would always lie to me." Little Seven brought up their childhood. That was already a few 100,000 years ago. Qingyi was helpless. No matter how long ago it was, it still existed. Little Seven snorted. "All right. After we grew up, I didn't lie to you. That's because after I grew up, I became smarter. You can't lie to me anymore. You have become narcissistic now. All right, I already said that I'll go with you. Don't cry." Qingyi saw her tears and his heart ached. That year, when she was taken away in front of his eyes, the tears on her face made him hurt for tens of thousands of years. Now he did not want to see her tears at all. He could not bear her tears. "I can't control myself. Who told you to tease me?" Little Seven complained. "It's all my fault. Be good, don't cry." Qingyi hugged Little Seven and patted her back gently. "But I have a condition to go with you." "What condition?" Little Seven leaned on his chest and asked in a muffled voice. "Although I'm going out, unless you are in danger, no matter what happens, I will not make a move," Qingyi said. "I don't want you to make a move. I know that you are restricted by the heavenly Tao. I won't let you be in danger," Little Seven said. "After we go out, I will protect you." All right, you protect me." Qingyi smiled. Although her personality had changed quite a bit, she still treated him the same as before. This happiness that was hard to come by, he would not let anyone take it away from him. Not even the heavens. This book came from Pin and Book hashtag that you're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.